This we are the URT. Welcome to the URT. People, can you see us? Wow, StreamYard is acting a bit funny tonight. Can you see me, people? Can you see me? Can you see me all right? Big up Kadeem. Says salute. Can you guys see me? Big up. Can you see me on the biggest, largest screen? Let me see how I look live. Because on here, I look really small, like I shared something. What's going on, people? What's going on? This is the URT. We are the URT. Big up the URT. All right, you're so small on the screen. What's going on, people? Yeah. Big up, people. Big up. I don't know what's happening. I genuinely do not know what's happening. But let me just try to share something. But big up, I love. We got a bit of a show for you tonight. I don't know why StreamYard is doing this. Let me just get somebody, let me see if some of the people come in, and then I'll go out and come back in. I don't know what's going on. I couldn't tell you. Big up, people. Screw looks like I'm presenting something. Yeah, that's weird. I'm definitely not presenting anything. I don't know what's going on. There we go. Bloody hell. I must have clicked it by accident. Hey, we're back, people. We're back. We're back. Oh, yeah, he went to demo. That's what he went to demo. StreamYard, I've got these things set up now, so he went to demo. Yeah, we need to get clear on this. People, welcome. This is the URT. You are the URT. We are the URT. Welcome to the URT. Big up to everyone. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Listen, lately I've been paying attention a lot to Amorim's press conferences, and I'm getting there's a lot of content in that. I'm listening to a lot. So yesterday after the game, he came out with some interesting. I'm gonna play some for you, audio. I'm gonna play some of it in the audio for you guys to hear. But yeah, it's fascinating what's happening out here, people. It's fascinating what's going on. So we're gonna play some of the audio, but please smash the like. Big up to Kadeem. Yeah, man. Love and light to all of you. Yeah, man. Big up Shekarian. Hope you're good. Big up. Sunny days, couple of sunny days in Manchester. I hope it's sunny wherever you are in the world, people. But we've got a lot to discuss. People. I hope you're well. And also, I just want to put this myth tonight. I'm going to have to break it down and explain this because so many people, honestly, the stat merchant generation. Yeah, we're going to look at this waffle about Maguire had better movement than who? By the way, I'm shadow banned officially, people. I'm getting shadow banned as well. Yeah, big up. I think because I've come out against Israel hard, I'm getting shadow banned properly on Twitter as well. People are not seeing my tweets, so it is what it is. But I'm not asked. It is what it is. We keep sharing it, man. Yeah. I've done it now. I'm back to normal now. You could all see me now. Yeah. Big up, people. Hello from the United Agenda. I've just sent us United Agenda. Just say, yeah, big up to the United Agenda. Hello from the United Agenda. Yeah, big up to the people of United Agenda, man. Appreciate you all. Love to the United Agenda. Yeah, big up to the people of the United Agenda, man. Show them love. Big up to them. Big up to them. But please, people, let's go. Let's come in. We're gonna be doing that. And then all of this about, for me, Amorim should have bought in. Amorim should have bought in. Should have asked for couple of loanee signings to get him. But yeah, big up everybody. Please smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and Amorim catfished us. Man is a bum. He stinks. Mr. Bean is at it again, people. Bean's about. Better watch out. Mr. Bean's about. Nah, he didn't catfish us because I did not want him. I was not the one that was hyping him up. He didn't catfish me. I thought he was going to Liverpool. I wanted De Zerbi. I wanted Areola. And then I was thinking maybe Hans Flick. That's what I was thinking. Big up to Arian. Arian was telling me Hans Flick, Nordin, Hans Flick. Even somebody like Xavi. You know what I mean? Big up Mr. Bean is moving mad. So big up the United agenda, like I said. Love to them. Big up to the United agenda, man. Love to those Kings, man. Appreciate them. Big up to them. Hopefully we get to invite them on the show. And yeah, they can jump on. But yeah, big up to those Kings. Always love. Yeah, people. Yeah, hopefully Jarvis is going to join us. And hopefully some of the boys will join us. So we'll see. Bumbaye will join us. Yeah. Yeah, you were talking about, yeah, your top two were Inzaghi and the Barcelona manager at the moment. Hans Flick. Yeah. To be fair, I did say as well, we did a show about who we should get, and I did say Inzaghi is a good coach. Yeah, man, big up to Khalis Ramadasi. Yeah, appreciate you. Kadeen says, I like Amorim. What I don't like is stubborn management with no flexibility. It concerns me. Yeah, listen, I don't blame him. Like I said to you guys, I don't actually blame Amorim. I blame the people who bought him here. I don't blame the young players. They don't play themselves. I don't blame some of these players because they don't buy themselves. They don't put themselves on a football pitch. For me, I'm just going to keep focused. I'm going to keep focused on the people who are mismanaging the football club. We had the Glazers for 20 years now. Before that, Fergie was papering over their cracks. And then in the last 12 years, we've seen it being well. And then you got Jim Glazer and this INEOS merchants, this INEOS quartersexuals coming in and then damaging Manchester United even further. So it's going to be something, but I'm just waiting for the people to get in here so we can have a discussion, really interesting discussion, because what Amorim said about young players and the way that INEOS are saying they only want to sign young players, it's going to be a collision, people. There's going to be a collision over the upcoming weeks. So we're going to be talking about that. And we're also going to be breaking down, hopefully if Jarvis comes, we're going to be breaking down that last 3-5 minutes of Maguire and how some of these people are basically saying Maguire had a better movement. Manchester United and Nottingham Forest camped in. They were tired. They played 120 minutes on the Saturday. They were out of their feet. Maguire comes in for 10 minutes to go. And basically Manchester United change tactic and start hoofing the ball into the box. And all of a sudden, he's got a better movement. If Manchester United would do that from minute one, I'm telling you, Rasmus and that will get an end of... If you put people in the box and you keep swinging balls in, people will get a touch on them. But it's crazy. It's crazy. Amorim won't last these owners clueless. He didn't want... what did he say? He didn't want to come now. Could have kept Rude steady the ship till the end of the season, but by us time, yeah, but I didn't want that. Big up to you, Susie. I hope you're well. Sending love to you. Diego Dalot, Ruben Amin. I think speaking English was something that he obviously tried to make sure as soon as he arrived to adapt really quickly, and everybody not to feel left out. Okay. Obviously, sometimes it's easier for him to communicate in Portuguese in the first few months, but now I think he became completely normal and speak English. Yeah, we weren't worried about his English, people. He can express himself all right. They were rumoured. I mean, the first Manchester United training session, it was funny because sometimes he was used to it in the beginning to speak Portuguese. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. That he would start speaking Portuguese to all the players. Players are like, boss, come on, you're speaking Portuguese. And it's like, oh, sorry. Yeah, that happens. That happens, though. That happens. And then he started already with English, but it's normal adaptation. I've been there when I arrived. It was exactly the same. Yeah. David Einstein, and Victor Osimhen. There seems to be a consensus among Premier League clubs that Victor Osimhen's more likely destination is Saudi Arabia. Ooh, interesting. That is an interest. Is that come out tonight? Yeah, big up. Yeah, that's interesting. We'll keep that in a thing. Well, like I said, he's gonna get $500,000 a week or something like that if he goes there. Like, I wouldn't. I'd be like, yo, listen, you could generations of your family, you could look after, man, with that type of money. Big up, even though football, really, you should be able to have enough money if you come and play one another. Like, for me, I just don't know why Arsenal have not gone for someone like him. Honestly, you know what I mean? Victor Osimhen screams Arsenal for me. Massive Arsenal fan base in Nigeria. Those of you in Nigeria, let us know, especially that it would have been nice to ask Sean, who's the most supported club in Nigeria? You know what I mean? I know United have a massive fan base. Liverpool have a massive fan base, but I think Arsenal are the top as well. I really hope Osimhen don't go down the route. He's still got potential in him. Yeah, well, it is what it is. Davidson, Liam Delap, I expect to move. I expect him to move with Chelsea and Manchester United among many suitors. Well, if Chelsea come in for him, we've got no chance. Chelsea have got money. Man. David Einstein on Mason Mount leaving. I don't expect Mason Mount to leave Manchester United. I don't expect Manchester United will be focused on keeping him fit and bringing the best out of him. That's going to be very interesting. Yo, big up everybody. Please smash a like on the video. Listen, we're shadow banned, people. We're shadow banned. The numbers are down because I was ill and I couldn't do shows. And YouTube is punishing me now. So we're shadow banned as it was. But honestly, for about 4 or 5 days, I couldn't do any shows. I wasn't feeling well. So the least you can do is like the video, people. I've still got croakiness in my voice. You can hear it. Because they think it's a great fit for Ruben Amorim's setup and style. Oh, okay. Best in class, he said. Well, to be fair, I rate him. I think he's got an incredible potential. But he needs to go to a stable football club where he can be further developed. But I think the minerals, in terms of hold-up play, in terms of getting in there, I think he's got the minerals. He's got the mineral. Laura or Manchester United chance of signing Victor Osimhen. I think United want him, can't afford him. They have as good a chance as any team. Champions League football. Laura or Manchester United signing Victor. I think if United want him and can afford him, well, what if you're just giving an opinion? That doesn't even make flipping sense. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. People, let's get to 50 likes, man. Come on, people, please. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Before we get into it, I'm just waiting for some of the boys to jump on. I'm expecting Bumbaye to jump on. Expecting Jarvis to jump on. I don't know what's going on with these guys, but yeah. But yeah, big up to everybody. Bumbaye, I'm just saying to you, where are you? Let me just get Bumbaye. Where are you, fella? Where are you? Yeah, there have been discussing potentially sending Mason Mount to a private clinic in Switzerland regarding his reoccurrence of injuries to help him limit them. Well, from what I heard on the streets, yeah, before even United signed him, the reason why he keeps getting reoccurring injuries is because he has got this hip problem, and the hip problem is going to be causing him these reoccurring injuries. So unless the hip problem, the source gets sorted out, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be really difficult. I mean, you had Rio Ferdinand. Remember, towards the end of his career, Rio Ferdinand would get back problems, and he would be on these incredible painkillers and stuff like that. I don't think Rio Ferdinand ever had a cruciate ligament or anything like that. He was blessed, like ACL or anything like that. But he had back problems, and they found out that it was something to do, like he would get knee problem, hamstring problem, and it was to find out it was something to do with his back. So they need to find out ASAP what's wrong with him. And if I was him, I'm a millionaire, I would spend all the money in the world to try to get people to help me so that I can play football. No, 100%. We need experienced guy. Yeah, big up, Mari. I appreciate you, bro. Mahir. Appreciate you. Please let people know about the channel, people. If you like the channel, let people know about the channel. And please subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you, God. No, 100%, Susie. He is young. He's raw. I think he's got enough there to be able to, but I just want, what I want is options off the bench. I just need options off the bench, because one thing we don't have is options off the bench. Manchester United could choose this option would be around 6 months. Is that for Mason Mount? If Manchester United choose this option, he will be out for 6 months. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth to get him out for 6 months. Honestly, it's worth to go and find out why this reoccurring injury keeps happening to him, and do that. Big up, Nuruddin. Do you want? What do you think of the mountain? It's very interesting. Yeah. Like I said, I want him to go. I want him to go and go and get it done. Liam, yeah, I actually think, he's got more minerals, like I said. But the thing about Delap as well, he had lots of injuries and young players, because there's a lot of growing pains. Obviously, they're growing, they're filling out. He was getting a lot of injuries. So they need to have a look at his injuries. They need to have a look into everything before they buy him. But I like him. I'm not going to lie to you. But do I also think Manchester United need Manchester United also need they need an experienced striker. But I would take Roddy, that are unexperienced striker. I want options in the striking force. I want options. Manchester United should go back to having 4 strikers. So 2 of them not doing it, the other 2 go on. That's what we should go back. That's what we should go back to. Me personally, we should go back to that, and we should play the balls. We should get players number 10 who can set the strikers up, and bring the number 10s and the midfield into play. Big up, Jarvis. Big up to you.
Yeah, apologize, I'm late. I didn't get any.
Worry, listen, Jarvis, no need for apologies, bro.
I put on notifications. I was waiting. I know it beeps when you go live, so I was just sitting here on my computer working on some thumbnails, just chatting on X and stuff like that. But
yeah, it's all good, man. It's all good. No problem.
YouTube, they don't send me notifications.
Yeah, because
this is my favorite channel, the channel I watch the most, and they don't send me notifications.
And why is that, Jarvis? Because I'm shadow banned.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
So people, smash the like, help the channel out.
Yeah, this is really interesting, Jarvis. Look at this. There's been discussion potentially sending Mason Mount to a private clinic in Switzerland regarding his reoccurrence of injuries to help limit them. And it says, if Manchester United choose this option, he will be out for around 6 months. I'm like, it's worth taking the risk. It's worth taking the risk. You know that I said this, Jarvis. I don't know after we signed him and before we signed him. I don't know if I ever told you, or I don't know if we ever live together when I said it on the stream. I heard rumors, through some good contacts, people that are actually Chelsea fans, who are a good contact, who are in the know, and these are not bullshit people, that he's got something wrong with his hips or with the hip. And that's the reason that is causing these reoccurring injuries. And that they said he's never going to be right. He's always going to get breakdown. And I also, I was trying to give the people a bit of historical context. Do you remember when Rio Ferdinand towards the end of his career? Remember, he used to get lots of knee and loads of different injuries. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Rio Ferdinand. And they found out that actually it was something wrong with his back that was causing him, and different parts of the body was affecting the other different parts. So for me, if Mason Mount, I'd be like, if it means that he can actually play and we can rely on him, I will be like, he's been out for the 2 seasons he's been here. He's been out for how long? He's been out maybe for combined. We're looking at maybe 12 months to a year anyway in football. In a season, if you combine the 2 seasons, he's been out for more than like 13 months at least. So for me, I'd be like, it's worth taking this risk and sending him to this clinic. And if it means that he'll be out 6 months, then so be it. And the other thing that we've been reacting to, just as the news, is that David Ornstein saying there seems to me a consensus among Premier League clubs that Victor Osimhen's most likely destination is Saudi Arabia. And I'm like, I don't really blame him. And then this other quote from him saying Mason Mount leaving, I don't expect Mason Mount to leave Manchester United. United will be focused keeping him fit and bringing the best out of him. So that's where we're at, people. Big up to Sean. How you doing, Sean? How you doing, Left Go? Are we good?
Deal, guys. I won't talk too much today because I'm kind of busy, but yeah. Everyone.
Yeah, no worries. We're going to get into the crux. But Laurie Whitwell talking about Victor, I think if United want him and can afford him, they'll have a good chance as any team. Champions League football. I mean, I don't know what it is. He's just giving an opinion. You don't know anything. You're just giving an opinion. Manchester United player has made more Manchester United has made Manchester United players made more Maguire in the Premier League this season, despite the fact he just started 15 games. Well, yeah, we can talk about that. And for me, I think the way that I think Amorim wants to play, I think he's a detriment. Manchester United as Liverpool are in the hot for Eintracht Frankfurt, Hugo Nketiah. He will cost 80 million plus. Manchester United not going for it. No, that's Manchester United out. As soon as you hear the price, Manchester United, a former Manchester United.
No, it would be too expensive.
Watch football when he was a kid. I was a Liverpool fan, but now I'm just a football fan in general. Yeah, he's from Birkenhead. He's from Birkenhead in Liverpool. I know where he's from, the area. My friend used to live there. But people, listen, big up to everybody. Please, guys, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Big up to all of you. I just want to get to the crux of the show. So, guys, lately I've been paying attention. And big up, we'll come to the Scott McTominay as well. We'll come to some of that. I'll save them. Big up to you, Sheikh Ariana. I'll save the Scott McTominay quotes as well. Big up to you. The point that I wanted to say is that the crux of this show is that I listened specifically. So when they were talking about young players, so Amorim got grilled, obviously, because a former young Manchester United player, academy player, scored, Anthony Langa. They also talking about Anthony, how well Anthony's doing, how Rashford is doing. You know what I mean? That's what they were talking about. So they're using it. The British media are using these things to beat Amorim, to beat him with it. So Amorim, I don't know if he meant to say that. I don't know if it's something to read into, but I definitely have read into that. He basically said what I've been saying for years and years, and what I come again and again and again, preach to everybody I know. I tell everybody and their nan about how Manchester United is not a stable football club. It's very difficult for young players to develop in an unstable, pressurized situation. Because one thing you know about young players, their form will fluctuate. Is that the right word? Fluctuate. Yes, that's the right word. It would go up and down. They will be amazing some games, and they will be terrible at some games. Manchester United cannot afford to have that yo-yo, that up and down kind of form with young players. But now, everything what we've seen from what Jim Glazer has said, everything we know about INEOS, guys, they've come out and said they prefer to get younger players. They're not even signing players that are up to 28. I actually agree, not getting players who are over the hill. And for years, I've been saying we do not want Simmer Frame FC. That's why I coined it. I coined the phrase Simmer Frame FC for the reason, because we were getting players way over the hill. So now, my question to you, and I think the conflict and the storm is coming. A storm is coming because Manchester United are no way stable. But INEOS transfer policy is to sign younger players. And Jim has come out, even before he bought Manchester United, he was coming out saying, you've got to sign clubs have to get the next Mbappe. You can't buy Mbappe. You've got to find the Mbappe and develop it. And I'm asking you, and I'll start with Jarvis, a storm is coming because that doesn't fit. Now, if they were to get a couple of young players, let's say in the summer, maybe 3 young players, and then sign another 3 players, 3, seasoned pros, what we're talking about, 26, at that 25, 26 mark, right? Yeah. Then that might be a bit of a balance to offset it, right? So we don't have a squad full of young players whose form is going to evacuate. What I see, I can foresee this. Then if the form evacuates, then you know what the pressure is going to be on Amorim, and then we know what's going to happen. I can tell you about INEOS. Yeah. Do not believe a word INEOS said. In how many years they've been there, they've sacked so many managers. At Nice, they've sacked so many managers, right, left, and center. They actually made one of the managers, they sacked him, brought him back, and made him a director. Yeah. Director of football. So I'll go to you, Jarvis. Jarvis, from everything you've been hearing, maybe I'm alone in this. Maybe I'm wrong in assuming. Maybe I'm assuming all these things. But from everything you're hearing from INEOS, chasing younger players, cheaper players, and what he came out, he literally said, let me play you, actually. Let me find it. Let me play you. I really need to play you. I don't know if you heard it, guys. Let me play you what he said, right? So that people don't think I'm making it up, right?
I guess while you're looking for it, before Jarvis goes, my 2 cents for running away again is I don't mind. I think I agree with the idea or with the sentiment that there's no way you can buy the next Mbappe, or there's no way you can buy the next star player. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
What was it? Sometimes, but you are not talking about players that didn't play for Manchester United. They were here playing for Manchester United. In here, the pressure is too big sometimes, and sometimes you don't have time, and you should have time for these kids to develop. But for that, you need a strong base to support all these kids. If you don't have that strong base, we are not going to help our kids. So they had that.
Did you get that? Did you understand that? Am I reaching into this? Am I making up to this? Everybody knows. You all know. You watch football. Some of you have been there when Fergie was here. You understood that what he did with younger players. You understand that certain other big clubs will do certain things. Recently, Barcelona have been heavily criticized for the way they've treated Pedri. And what's the other thing? What's the other kid called? There's 2 kids. There's
Gavi.
Pedri. It's Gavi. And what happened, Jarvis? They overplayed him. What happened? Injuries started occurring.
Yeah. Injuries, burnout.
Yeah. The form started dipping. So I want to put that into context. I think something is coming about. But go ahead, Sean. I wanted you to hear it because I didn't want people to think I'm making this up. He said it. He said it there and then. And we all understand, those of us who watch football enough, understand that you need a mixture of experience and you need mixture of experience and mixture of younger players. But you need to be able to take the young players out and bring them in and take them out and develop them and take them out. So go ahead, Sean, and then we'll go to Jarvis.
Yeah. Sorry to jump ahead, Jarvis. I was going to say that, I think I agree that it goes without saying that what Amorim just said there, it goes without saying that you need a base to support the young players. I think what we heard from Amorim there is, the public version of an internal debate that is going on, at United. I get the sense that these arguments are being had internally, and Amorim is just bringing it into the public, his own position, and it's a common sense position. But I think I also understand from a value perspective. I understand where INEOS is coming from. And I think it makes sense that right now, the way the market is, you're better off developing your Saka. You're better off bringing your Saliba from, wherever you brought him from and having him become a superstar, or Gabriel. Sure, you might need a Declan Rice for £100 million to bring it to your team. But the way football is looking right now, I think you're better off, getting a young player and turning him into a superstar in your team. Obviously, it goes without saying that there's a very real tension between the state of the markets and the truism that we just spoke about, needing to have a base. There's a tension there. You can't deny it. Which one comes before? I don't know. How it will be managed, I also don't know. But I think I understand both people's position, and I think the only way forward is for on the INEOS side them not to be naive. So don't be naive and just go and buy a bunch of young players. You need a sprinkle of experience in there. At the same time, Mr. Amorim, if they give you the remits and say this is our strategic plan, you have to earn your pay and come up with a way to manage all the risks that we identify going into it. So I understand both sides, and I think it requires some really important, crucial, and hopefully wise decision making on everybody's part to succeed.
Big up, Sean. Go ahead, Jarvis. What do you think? For me, I think there's a clash coming. I really think there's a clash coming because you can't have a pressure on a coach to the extremities, is the way it is at Manchester United, and on younger players, and expect them to sink or swim. You cannot, because young players, that's too much pressure. That is too much pressure. So I think a storm is coming. And I think if Amorim, I'm just putting it out there now, 10 games into next season, if Amorim, if things are not improving, I'm telling you, it's going to be trouble, Jarvis. I'm telling you, I can foresee it. The pressure is going to build and build. And some people are going to say, well, how come we can't get the best out of these young players? They bought him these young players. That's what he was known for in Portugal. He got the best out of young players. Why is he not getting the best out of them? Well, he's new to the fucking league. This is the toughest league in world football. It's the most physically demanding, most pressurized league in world football. And Manchester United is the most one of the most pressures in world football, because majority of our fan base cannot, Jarvis, understand where we're at this moment. We're not the Manchester United of Fergie. We've been crap in the last 12 years. And we are now, I don't think we've even got to the bottom yet. When they said you have to reach bottom to get better, I think bottom for Manchester United is relegation. That's my point of view. But
I think that's just apply for alcoholics. But yeah, I heard that rumor too. But first of all, I just want to say hi to all the legends tuning in. I see all the legends. Stephanie's here, Jamie, Sheikh Ariane. We have Dave here, Bat Time, big up Bat Time, Tualumba Piri, and yeah, a lot of good people is in the house. So people smash a like. First of all, when it comes to Man United, we are not a stable club. So we are talking about bringing up youth. We are buying young players, and you, Nuruddin, are stating we are not a stable club. And that one I agree upon, because it comes down to different elements. But I will go through what I think. We have instability when it comes to managers. We are constantly changing managers. We've gone from Moyes, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Ole, Ten Hag, and now Amorim. So there's new philosophies, and new systems, and new preferences for the players to play for. And then you have young players, and they need stability. They have to build confidence and clarity. And Man United, when we change manager every other year, they will feel that when the new manager comes in, the new manager don't rate them. And we've seen this. We've seen, for example, Elanga. Now he was excellent, but under Ralph Ragnick, he was good. But when Erik Ten Hag came in, it wasn't a good fit. Mainu was a good fit under Erik Ten Hag. But we know who wasn't a good fit under Erik Ten Hag, and that was Ahmad. But Ahmad, when Amorim came in, Ahmad was thriving. So we see this clearly. Because of changing of managers makes it difficult for young players to develop, because they need stability. And we don't have a clear plan of development, a path, because the under 18s, the under 21s haven't trained the Amorim style, the 3-4-3 system. And before that, when Ole was and Ten Hag came in, they hadn't played Ten Hag style of football. So it's very difficult for them to learn. When you start at 17, now you're coming up and you think, oh, I want to be a wingback because Amorim is the manager. But when you try and train for year and a half to become a wingback, and when your time has come to break into the team, the path is ready, Amorim is gone. Suddenly we have a new manager. What's the kid supposed to do? So it's very difficult. And then when you suddenly get the chance, you have the big club, the pressure, and we always want results. And when results go bad, we turn to go into panic buys. So it's a lot of different elements, tactical demands, youth profiles. We need to have paths. So I think it's difficult, but people need to understand when it comes to this, it takes time. What we are seeing now, for example, with Ahmad coming up, even Mainu, I think it's people that Oli had pointed out to become good players when he was in the club. So it takes at least 3 years to develop a young player into a first team player, a stable first team player. We've seen youngsters coming in from the under 18s and just bursting into the scenes like Rashford, but there's so far and few in between those. So it's not happening all the time. So it's very difficult. So for me, I think Amorim, he's in a struggle. Yes, he's in a struggle, and I think INEOS don't have the patience to give Amorim the time, to develop these young players, because obviously it will take time. It will take at least a year and a half, but up until 3 years to develop a lot of these youngsters. And we know, as you said, at Nice, his history, Ratcliffe's history of sacking managers, they have no patience. And Amorim, he needs patience. So immediately there's a clash. There's a clash of how you're going to have patience or not. And we know that Ratcliffe is ruthless. He sacked Ashworth because he wants yes men. He wants his team to be yes men, to agree with him. And if someone has a different viewpoint, he will get rid of them. He said so in the interview. Chemistry. Why did he say chemistry? Because it's not chemistry. It's about Ashworth didn't agree with him, and that's why he's gone. We all know that. We can read between the lines. Everybody got to be aware. So I think it's kind of unrealistic, and we're buying all these young players and think Amorim is going to be the one who will develop them. He will be maybe stage 1, but there will come new managers. And this is why we struggle. We do this over and over and over again. Sack managers, bring in another style. And it's not just changing managers, it's changing styles completely. There's a completely different style from Van Gaal to Mourinho to Ole to Ten Hag and now to Amorim. How are you supposed to develop as a youngster when you come up as 16 years old at Man United? It's impossible.
So Jarvis,
impossible.
let
So
me
this
cut you
is
off,
the big issue.
But if you could steelman the argument, right? If you could steelman the argument that maybe the theory of the case, like I said last time we all spoke, I think it takes about 5 to 7 years really to do the rebuild that we want. I think the INEOS team agree. Their timeline that they set for Project 2030 or so reflects that they also feel it's about the minimum 5-year horizon to get to where you need to be. So let's assume that they believe that Amorim is the man to take them there. So while the contract that they've committed to Amorim is a 2.5-year contract, let's say they're planning to work with Amorim for the long run. Does it make sense to give him the raw materials? And by raw materials, we mean the rawest of raw materials for him to start his project with, over a 5-year basically horizon.
It's going to be at the end of the day, it's going to be very interesting to see how this works out. But I think a clash is coming. I really think a clash is brewing, because he's going to want to expect seasoned pros. And when you've got too many youngsters, we know history, the form, you're like a yo-yo. But go ahead, Lesso. Big up to you, Baro. How are you doing? How's South Africa? Is it cold? Back to winter settings. I can't hear you, bro. Can't hear you.
We've had winter since January. Can you hear me?
Can hear you, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've had winter since January.
No, Lester, we can hear you.
Weather...
I don't know if it's just me.
Louder. Can you just project a bit more, please? A bit louder.
I don't think it's about the volume. I think
you can hear him, but it's a bit faint.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear
Yeah,
me?
we can hear you now. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm saying we've had like winter since January, man. So the summertime like literally just disappeared. So yeah, it's this weather change is terrible. This climate change and everything. But big up to everyone. Smash the like button, people. And yeah, no, I actually agree with Amorim, man. You need you need a balance. We're not there as a football club, obviously. That is why we have started with the process of recruiting, and as well as changing the style of play and everything, all the way from development to, it has to replicate to the first team as well. So yeah, we need to mix and match, guys. Like we can't just be signing youngsters only and then expecting them to come through and do what they need to do, because you need a balance of both. That even Sir Alex did it the right way as well. People forget this. He gradually brought people through. I remember prior to that, he also got it wrong. He actually tried to throw a whole lot of youngsters into the first team prior to the 90 class of 92. So even with the how he handled the 92, I think it's something that even Barcelona used as a blueprint as well. The way he gradually brought people through, the same way Barcelona did with the early days with Xavi and Iniesta and all these guys. They were not just thrown into the first team. They were gradually brought through. They were starting on the bench. Most of them started on the bench. Even Messi started on the bench. He wasn't forced into the first team. You have to be careful in how you bring young players through the first team. Gotta understand that they're playing for a big club. They're playing for an elite club, and the pressure is extremely high. That's why only a few of them. There'll only be exception to the rules, like your Yamal and all these exceptional youngsters. It's only one or two at best that would be able to get into the first team and make a straight impact. So in this case, I think the club is headed in the right direction in the terms of they're trying to recruit, and they're looking at the types of players they're trying to recruit as well. The players have to fit the style that the club wants to play going forward, and they're looking specifically at that. If you look at the type of players we're signing, they look at players who are athletic, and as well as who can hold position, who are press resistant as well, and and basically who can fit in the system that we want to play going forward. So in that sense, yeah, it's good, but I it, in the summer they should not dare try and just sign youngsters, because that is a felony, honestly. That I can't accept that kind of a crime at Manchester United. If you're just gonna go and sign youngsters only, you have to mix and match. You have to bring in a bit of players who are in their prime and mix it up with players who are very young, and then also in terms of the youth. I don't understand the notion of the under 21s, to be honest. I think when players turn 17 or 18, they should be going out on loan. We should have a structure in place where we send out these players to football clubs, where these football clubs mirror the way we want to play. That way, in terms of when you have to bring them back, they have the experience and they'll be able to gel into the first team. So Chelsea are already doing it. So for me, if Man United can try and utilize the loaning system and send out these players to gain the first team experience, away from the pressures, away from all of these things, and then come back with the fresher mindset and a bit of confidence, and as well as a bit of experience, and
Mm.
you can easily utilize them into the first team. The transition will be a little bit more smoother as compared to you throwing them in, because we have lack of quality in the first team. We have to work at the quality of the first team, because it's diabolical at the moment. If you look at the depth that we have in the first team, it's we don't have anything. We're very weak.
Mm.
We barely have a forward line. Our midfield is in disarray. It's aged. So we have to work on that first team. The first team is a priority this the season before we can even consider thinking of throwing all these young players into the first team. We can't be doing that. That's career suicide for some of them. So yeah, that's my point on it. You have to mix and match, and Amorim is right in that case.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I think a clash is brewing. I'm not going to lie to you. I think a clash is brewing. I think Jarvis is right. Chemistry, he said. The reason why, when they spoke to Amorim in the summer, Dan Ashworth told them that you don't have the majority of this squad is not going to suit the way Amorim wants to play. And just because of that, they got rid of him. They got rid of him. They sacked him. He didn't even go. He was in Amorim signing was done by Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox. You could see how awkward. Remember when he came there? You see the body language of Ashworth, coming out to greet him and stuff. He wasn't involved. He had nothing to do with it. So at the end of the day, I personally believe. Does that make it out that Ashworth was an amazing guy at his job? No. We don't know. We genuinely don't know. He might have done good work in different places, but we don't know. But for him, then for the brief to come out against him, to go that everything that was wrong was him, he was the one that made errors, was laughable for me. I remember when we did a video on here, and I was like, "Nah, I'm not buying this shit. I'm sorry, I'm not buying this shit. This is just
his track record." Yeah. Ashworth's track record as in Newcastle, Brighton, Southampton.
Yeah.
Fantastic track record. But the players he signed when he came to Newcastle was different from the youngsters he signed at Brighton. So he signed more established players.
Because Brighton, the
Premier
model,
League proven established players. That was most of them. Byrne and all of them. We all know the Trippier and
but because the way that the Brighton owner, he uses like a Moneyball system, Jarvis.
I know.
I forgot the name of it. I forgot the name of it.
Moneyball is the correct. I think it's the correct.
But it's not Moneyball, but it's called something.
Data analytic.
So basically it's a scouting worldwide network, and he can just look in, tap in, he pays for it to see the stats. And then he's got the sports science team, he's got the recruitment team to look at it, to really deep dive into those recruitment, and then for him to be able to say, this is the type of players that they want. And that's why they actually spent a lot of money last season, Brighton. Most people don't know that. They spent a lot of money last season because the money that they gained, they spent it. But at the end of the day, I think, is that because L Scout? Is that what it is? Yeah, Tony Bloom. Yeah, Tony Bloom. So at the end of the day, for me, it's different. I'm not saying Ashworth was going to be the greatest guy, but I'm not buying the way he was sacked and the reasons why he was sacked. Sean, you're going to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say something because I understand the general skepticism of INEOS and Sajim and everything, but again, I can make sense of what appears to me to be a strategy. So first of all, right, I would grant that yes, definitely, there's no reason why in the summer we should just spend all our money on youngsters. That doesn't make sense. That would be a disaster. But I think if you're trying to solve Amorim's problem, the problem, as we all understand it, that he needs specialized players in special positions to be able to execute his style of play. So you need specialized players to play in every single part of the pitch. Now, if you're INEOS and you look out at the market and you ask yourself, I probably need to sign a whole lot of players. Where do I think I could get more value from? Would I rather go and find established professionals to fill all these positions? Or, given my expectations that is a 3 to 4 year horizon, do I focus on best-in-class youngsters that have really high ceilings and try and strike a balance between the two? I think it makes sense if they're committed to Amorim, if they're committed to also supporting the youngsters with some experienced players. I think it makes sense as a strategy to say, hey, we need to build a team. We need to build a team for the future. We need to build a team of specialized players in specific positions. What would you rather do? Buy a Patrick Dorgu from wherever we bought him from for 13 million from Lecce, right? Would you rather buy Patrick Dorgu for $13 million, or look for a tried and tested left back with maybe 3 years left in his professional career, or maybe he's a left back, he's not used to playing left wing back, so you have to train him. Like I think the trade off is real. I think it's a real trade off that INEOS is dealing with, and I would encourage fans to look at it that way.
Yeah, yeah. But when it comes to the summer, we have. Let me guess. I suspect we have about 60 million in a budget plus sales. So we are at the position where it's difficult for
Yeah.
us to sign anyone. And let's say 60 million plus sales, that's nothing. And who are we actually going to sign? If we're going to sign, let's say, Osimhen or Eketiah or anyone, we are talking about 70, 80 millions. Even with the amortization, we are talking about at least 25, maybe 30 million spending at once on a player like that. And then we have spent half a budget on one player. So, and we know we need 6 to 8 players maybe. So I think that's a dilemma we are in right now. And the question is,
Yeah.
will it be like this in the future? Is this the future? Will INEOS continue this, or is this just
I
the
would
current
take it a step
situation, the
further,
financial
Jarvis.
restraints that's holding us back? And when we have overcome this financial problem and getting more money in, will we then start splashing the cash, or will
I
we
would
continue?
I would
Because
venture
we
and
don't know.
say not only is it the future for United, I think it's the future for football in general. I think if you look at Chelsea, if you look at who City is spending money on, who Arsenal is spending money on, who Madrid is buying, who is in Barcelona's team leading their team, it's young players. I think we effectively priced ourselves out of the market, for experienced professionals. So unless you're a Napoli getting a bargain deal for Scott McTominay, for 30 or 40 million, you're paying at least 60 or 70 for anybody that you're buying right now who has any, kind of experience or anything. If you're a big club, unless you're City, basically, you're paying in that realm. So it makes sense to me that look at the signings really of the top clubs around Europe. A lot of people are investing in youth, because now there are a lot of high performing young players. And so it makes sense. Again, it makes sense to me for United to think that way. Our situation is unique, right? So we definitely need the experienced players to buttress. But I can see why, again, if I was the one controlling the purse strings, I can see why I would look at our squad and say, oh, there's Onana, an experienced player. There is Nusayr Mazraoui, an experienced international. There is Delete, also full of experience. Here's Bruno Fernandes, an experienced player. Like if you look at the squad, there is some experience in there. So the positions that we need to fill right now in this team, right? I think the one that is non-negotiable is a striker. To address the Osimhen question, I would take Osimhen in a heartbeat, basically at United. That's the one position I think we cannot afford to do the young star, trick. But I think just as we did with Dorgu, I don't mind seeing a few bargains. Like, get me somebody that can excite me in midfield. Get me somebody that can excite me in the other right back position. Get me somebody that can excite me in the 2 number 10s. But for the striker, that's a position where I think, okay, definitely we need somebody who, has a proven track record. Anywhere else, I'm here for the long haul.
Yeah, Sean, I just wanted to ask you a question. But do you think for the transfers, right? By the way, it's not just Chelsea. It's a lot of the teams, and I understand. I agree with you that specifically younger players into the academy and then be able to go around the PSR rules. That seems to be selling squad players. So when you get a lot more young players, you sell the ones you have, you buy in some more. That seems to be something for teams. And actually, if you look at the average age now, the age for the first time, I think in the last maybe 5 to 6 years, the age is dropping. There are some exceptional. So 2 things are happening, right? Specifically within European football. I don't know about Latin American football, or I don't know about what's happening in African football. I know about European football. So what's happening is that exceptional players, right, who are prolonging, the exceptional ones, the Lewandowski, the Ronaldo. Ronaldo was a freak anyway. But there are a few that are prolonging their careers. But what's happening at the bottom end as well, on the other side, so not the bottom end, but on the other side, look, there are a lot more younger players being played. If you look at Barcelona, if you look at Real Madrid now, Camavinga, you know what I mean? Mbappe might have been here, but he's still a young player. You know, Vinicius Junior. You know what I mean? I don't know how old he is now, but Bellingham's still a young player. But then you've got the Modric. You know what I mean? You got the Modric in that team as well. So there is this type of like young, but for me, young means needs development. For development, it means stability. And I don't think Manchester United are stable in a football club because the pressure is only going to come more because we're no longer in that market where we could bid for these type of players like the Osmans or the Gorgeas guys or some of the strikers that we want. We think that might be good, who have experience and who are seasoned pros. Manchester United are not in that price bracket. So anytime now Manchester United are linked with a player, I look at the price and go, no chance. No chance.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, there is a conflict brewing. And Amorim is going to be under a lot of pressure because the press then are going to get the stick to beat him when I go, well, he's got his players now. Why can't he get the best? Not understanding that. It takes, specifically, we know the percentage, right? When you get transfers, it's 50%.
Yeah.
If you're a football club, for the 50% is the baseline where they might work out. 50% of the signings will work out. Some remarkable clubs, listen, will get at best at 60% to get the best out of new signings. But we understand specifically if you're buying out of this league, right, or British football, the adaptation time to even takes even more. And then you add the pressure of being at Manchester United, where we're in a new territory in terms of being in the Premier League, where we are positionally, and where the chaos is. I think something's gonna give, and we know that at this football club, the only thing that gives is what? The manager. And I don't blame Amorim. Like I said to you, it might be that Amorim might walk away. I think that could be it, that he might walk away. And the other thing that you look at it is a short contract, isn't he? He's only got 2.5. Is it 2.5 years? His contract was it 2 and a bit years? What was his contract?
Yeah, I think
it was 2.5. Just 2.5.
So, yeah. So by the beginning of next season, by the beginning, that'll be a season, won't it? That'll be almost a season because he came in October or November. Did he come in October or November? I think it might have been November. So
November, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it was November. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean the tension is real now, right? But again, this is the big leagues. So I mean I fully understand that Amorim needs to be supported. And he needs to be supported by the club providing him with quality players, not just youngsters.
They bought him here,
experienced
Sean. I'm
players.
sorry to say, Sean, but they bought him here. It's their guy. It's not Ten Hag anymore. It's their guy. So the excuses are not to back him. They didn't back him in January, and we've seen it. You saw the other night, people. Last night, you saw it. All three players who scored for Aston Villa, Jarvis, and Sean, were all the three loans, were the permanent guy they got from Dortmund, and the two loans was Rashford and Asensio.
Yeah.
So he didn't even get the loans. Remember, Ten Hag got loans. Amorim didn't get any loans.
So, I mean, I don't disagree with you that he needs to be backed, right? But where I think there might be some disagreement between us is that I don't think Amorim gets to say, unless I get everything I want, the alternative is a failure. I don't think it makes sense for anybody, not just Amorim, to say the only way I can do my job is if I have every single thing that I deem necessary to do the job. I think there has to be some room for creativity. Now, it's a give and take. Obviously, there's a balance that reasonable people can agree or disagree on. Just how much backing INEOS provides him. But I think there has to be some room for Amorim, which I think he recognizes as well, right? He backs himself. In order to succeed in this business, essentially, there has to be some element of genius to it, right? Like it cannot just simply be that you were given every single thing that you desired, you created a perfect scenario, and that's how you succeeded. No, there needs to be some creativity, some kind of genius involved. So yeah, I fully expect INEOS to back him with some experienced players. So like I said, if I look at our squad, the one place that I think experience is paramount is up front. Whatever striker we go for during the summer has to be an experienced striker. We can't do the young experiment anymore. We did it with Højlund, we did it with Xerxes. We need somebody experienced up front. But from my perspective, I don't mind seeing another Dorgu in midfield or another Dorgu in the number 10 position, because I don't expect us to do much next season either. I'm looking at the 3, 4, 5 year horizon. And I think if you're looking at it that way, then it's fine if you focus on the youngsters right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, guys. I mean, it's simple. We need to also
One second,
utilize.
1 second, let's so he's back. He's back. My friend is back. He's back. I love this guy, honestly. Look at this. Look at this. The bots are back. Bot attack. Go ahead, let's so carry on. Sorry. Big up to the. Go ahead, let's so.
Yeah, he's not going away. But yeah, in the sense, when we have to look at also players whose contracts are always at the end as well. I mean, there's Jonathan Davis as well. That no one is really looking at, but this is a guy that's been consistent more or less in the French league, and he's been getting 20 goals per season, on average. So, we need to look at things like that, and he's in his prime right now. So if we're not gonna get Osimhen or anyone of that nature, you have to be smart. He's gonna be free. He's a free agent. You can try and get him. So he's someone that club should be looking at, honestly, because I mean, if we are moving on a tightrope budget, we need to be smart in terms of what kind of signings we can get, and at the same time, if you're looking for experienced professionals, and especially in the striking department, I mean, you need someone who can guarantee you goals no matter where they're going. And the French league is not that far off, by the way, in terms of physicality to the Premier League. So for me, it's a low risk. Firstly, you're getting him in on a free. When you have to sell him, it's a profit. If it doesn't work out in a year or two, he can go, and you will definitely get money for him. So, in that sense, I think it's more of a low risk. But at the same time, you don't know you more or less know that he's going to somewhat bring experience. He's not. I don't think he's gonna flop like that.
The only thing that I would say, Gary Neville did an interview with him recently. I think it was Overlap USA, I think. And he said his preference is, guys, have one of you got me on? I can hear a bit of feedback. Basically, what he said was that his preference is to go and play in La Liga. He always liked La Liga, and he wants to go and play in La Liga. One thing about him, though, I will say, he's a guy you have to get crosses in the box to. And what is the club bad at? What are we bad at the moment, Jarvis? We don't put the ball in the box for strikers at this moment in time. We do everything but that. But what do you think about what Lesso and Sean are saying in terms of like where this could end up? Do you think this smells trouble for Amorim? If they don't back him, he's their guy, Jarvis.
Noradin, I saw the Mandem show the other day.
Yes.
I'm not saying that any of you guys are Amorim out, because I know you aren't. But I know
I kept saying it. I don't blame him.
But I know how this goes. It started. It's already started with people questioning his decisions, questioning his lineup, questioning what Amorim is doing. So I know how it started. I know how it started with Ole. I know how it started with the Ten Hag, and we are coming into stage 2 now. It's not hands off anymore when it comes to Amorim. People are criticizing him heavily, even myself, because in the last game against Nottingham Forest, he bottled it. I think a lot of that game was on Amorim himself. He changed too much. And he changed the wide centre backs, that changed sides. He played Bruno in the 10. He played Zirkzee in the 9.
Zirkzee up the top.
Garnacho on the left.
He's the best at linking
so
the play.
much interchanging, and for me, I think it feels like he has lost a little bit of confidence because he has lost too many games, and now he starts overthinking. It's kind of Pepish, the tinkering thing, the tinker man, and I think it's difficult for him to be brave now when it comes to selections. And in a way, I think if we start now not giving him the benefit of the doubt and by criticizing him too much, I think it will stop him from trying out, because we got to remember we are still in a development phase, and all the people who want the Ten Hag out has to be aware, if they want Ten Hag out, you got to see through a new assessment period, and that's just the way it is, because the new manager will have to get the chance to try out his players in different positions, in different setups, in different systems, in different styles, and this is what Amorim is doing. But I'm not criticizing him too hard, because I don't want to start this Amorim questioning and then suddenly becoming Amorim out.
No, listen. For me, Jarvis, I told you. If I don't know if I said it. I said it on that. I said if he starts to insult my intelligence, like Ten Hag did, then I would be, because I'm like, what? Why are you taking the fucking piss out of us? Like, why do I watching this open space FC football? But Amorim, for me, I said I'm not going to call for his head. I'm calling for the head of the people who put him there, Jarvis. I don't know if you've noticed. I criticize him in the game, in-game management. Should he have done this? Should he have done that? But I don't go, it's all on him. I know he's a young manager, and I kept repeating it there, Jarvis. If you watch that show again,
yeah, I know. You are the voice of reason.
Yeah, I say he's 40 years old. It's a new league for him. I don't blame him because he wasn't in my top 3. He wasn't the guy that I thought, because already Ten Hag made me paranoid, and I said Ten Hag needed a specific type of players to play the way he wanted to play. And then Ten Hag was one of the most demanding guys on players, what he was asking them to do. We all saw that, Jarvis, right? Then you go and get a guy who's even younger than Ten Hag from another league, right? And bring him here to players who cannot play his system.
Yeah.
Cannot play his system. So, and then you don't back him in January. You actually take away players, and without realizing injuries were going to occur. You know injuries are going to occur. You need forward players. So for me, what INEOS have already done to him is been horrendous. So for me, and then that's why I tried to explain to them, and some of them didn't understand it. I said to them, the club have said to him, with a system, we need to be a system football club. Start the system. He came and told us. He said that in a press conference. He said, the club have said, regardless what they're paying, is start the system now. That's what they said to him. So for me, I'm not. Ten Hag took the piss out of me, Jarvis. I'm sorry. He insulted all of our intelligence, and I'm not standing for that. That's one of the things that I feel for. And he was the most back manager since Fergie. Now, could he have been back properly?
Money-wise, but you can blame it
money-wise,
on
but not quality. Yes, money-wise, but in terms of quality, could they have done more? Yes. Every manager that has come, Jarvis, has had, 3/4 of their arms behind their back, or one arm tied behind their back. So I understand. But when he started taking the piss for me, it's when the last 5 games or last season, when he showed he can play compact regardless who's fit. I was like, why are you taking the piss fucking out of me? And I called it early, Jarvis. I was calling it early, saying this is not sustainable. These things are not sustainable. I think Amorim threw some of the players under the bus, and specifically, I think he's shocked in January they didn't. Why the hell did you think he put Zirkzee on the bench and Rasmus on the bench and played what's his name? Kobe as the false 9. That was still during the window. He was trying to send a message. So
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
That's what I'm saying to you. The problem is coming between him and the board, and it's their guy. It's coming because every indication is telling us they're going for younger and cheaper, and means less quality. and more time to develop. And those players are not going to help him. Young players are not going to help him straight away. They're not. Their form's
Yeah,
going to evaporate.
but even within what you're saying, right? You're describing two tensions, one between Amorim and the club itself. But I think within Amorim himself, like him as an individual, there are some conflicts that he needs to resolve personally about how he wants to play
He's
football.
a young manager. He's never managed
No,
in this league before, Jarvis.
I understand.
He's 40 years old. He's never
I
managed in
understand.
this league. This
No,
is a massive wake-up call. He's, as a confidence young manager, his confidence is shook. He went from, he came to Sporting Lisbon, and then they were losing, and then all of a sudden, bam, it clicked. His system worked. The younger players that they had from the squad, from the academy worked. The signings all worked. And then he went on this journey where he didn't lose a game. He wasn't losing any games.
We're sort of saying the same things,
so,
right?
But I don't think you understand in terms of the lack of experience, and not even that. No, let me finish. Sean. He hasn't got anybody who knows the Premier League as a number 2. All of his backroom staff are young as well, and they're not used to. They've never played. They've never coached. They've never been on a bench in the Premier League. So this is a thing that all of this goes in hand. Majority of people don't know. Look at Pep.
No, you're preaching to the choir.
Listen, Pep came to Man City. Who was his number 2? Brian Kidd. Brian Kidd, who's been way around the block, who was Fergie's number 2 and saw success after success. Knows everything there is to know about English football.
You're preaching to the choir, right? And if you let me continue, you would hear that I agree with some of what you're saying. You're preaching to the choir when you talk about the lack of experience.
Sean, did you agree? Huh?
Yeah,
say that before, but yeah, okay.
No. Yeah, no. I agree to an extent, right? It's a qualified agreement, not a wholehearted agreement. I agree to an extent in the sense that, of course, Amorim is inexperienced. Amorim, first time in the Premier League, doesn't have the backroom staff he needs. Is not supported by the club, in the way that he should. But what I would offer in terms of a challenge is that every single excuse, every single context that I've heard provided for Amorim also apply to Ten Hag. In the same way, in different ways, but it also applies to Ten Hag. And as far as I'm concerned, for a manager to be successful at United, they must first fail. They must first be given room to fail. And that room to fail, I think, as I've been saying since, comes in a 4 to 7 year period. So there are two tensions here. One is between Amorim and the club, right? The club has to back him in a way that sets him up to succeed. But the second tension is that Amorim himself has to make good decisions. Like he himself has to make good decisions with what he's given. So he shouldn't play, as you also said, he shouldn't play Kobe Mino up front as a number 9, right? He shouldn't, after a couple of games where Xerxes looks like he's coming into form as number 10, then all of a sudden move Xerxes back to striker. Like he shouldn't make those mistakes. And I think with time, right, he will learn from those lessons. But I think the lesson for the fan, and this is addressing Jarvis' point about the sense of impatience that many fans are now starting to express about Amorim. And you can see it. You can see like it's predictable. You can see the basically the pitchforks coming out for Amorim. You can see the type of narratives. He's a fraud. Doesn't know what he's doing. Making poor decisions. Making mistakes.
Yes,
the narrative is building in real time, and you can see it, and it will start to calcify. And we're making the same mistakes. When what we really need to do is to recalibrate our expectations. So when I tell you now that this United plan is a 4 to 7 year horizon, what that simply means is that you have to give Amorim room in year 1 or year 2 to make a couple of mistakes, to make significant mistakes. Now, the only caveat is that your mistakes shouldn't lead to us being in the relegation battle. So there's a bandwidth, right? There is a spectrum of how bad we should expect things to be on the path to progress. But we shouldn't just go and die. Essentially, by die I mean get relegated. So there's a fine balance, but I'll encourage people not to lean too hard into one direction or the other, because if you make it about INEOS, then you're completely letting Amorim off the hook for his bad decisions. And if you make it about Amorim entirely, then you're ignoring the entire context that exists. And if Amorim needs time to get things right, so does INEOS, right? If we say that for the past 15 to 20 years or whatever the Glazers, however long that they've been in charge, that they've completely destroyed the club, how do we then think that within a year, no matter how good their intentions are, no matter how smart they are, no matter how qualified, even if it was your best people that bought the club, the Qataris, it probably wouldn't take a year to fix everything that needs to be fixed within this club. So everybody just needs to take a breather, reset your expectations, essentially, manage expectations for this club, because many people claim that from their perspective, this team is shit, this team is this team is that, and then still assess the team as if they're expecting us to win the Premier League next year. There's a contradiction in there that many people are not recognizing. So, Amorim to me gets the benefit of the doubt. Granted that, I'm willing to call him out when he makes a mistake, but I back Amorim like I backed Ten Hag, like I backed the managers before him. Because as far as I'm concerned, all these managers, they can't all be terrible. Like they can't all just have been bad. There's something at the club that needs basically, addressing.
There you go, Sean. There you go. That's the thing that I talk about. The club is rotten to the core. Glazers and INEOS need to go because INEOS came and doubled down and even made more errors than the Glazers were doing already. They came and spent over nearly 40 million, right? And sacked people right, left, and center and getting rid of people. And they now devalue the football club so much so they're saying we can't buy anything because we don't have the money and all of this BS. While the Glazers are not putting their own money in like most footballers are. Do you know that the guy who bought Nottingham Forest put his own money in? Do you know that Chelsea owners are putting so much money? So I'm sorry, Sean.
You cut me off, right?
But no, in football, no, I'm not cut you off. In football,
you did. You cut me off.
Listen, football is a different business than what business is. And as the business guy, don't get involved in fucking football, right? If you don't have money to spend.
Let me try again, right? And be hopefully clearer now. The path to success for United starts with mistakes. Quite simply, if there have been 15
mistakes for 12 years, where's the success? How many more years is 12 years? 12
calm
years
down
mistakes.
And listen to what I'm saying.
Sean, because Sean, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna stay silent when you tell me mistakes. 12 years.
So listen, let me listen. I'm saying that and I agree with you, if you believe that the Glazers have destroyed the club is rotten to the core, and that rot has seeped in over a 12-year period, I think it's reasonable to say that
the new owners have come in, the 28% people have come in and even doubled down on the mistakes. Where do you see the light, Sean? Tell me, please, something that where you
listen, you'll hear
where
now.
Is it?
Right? If you listen, you let me speak.
No,
if you listen,
I don't think you understand the context.
Okay.
Dodgy Dave came in. He's not a football guy. He's a fucking cycling guy who cheated in cycling, right? He cheated in cycling. He came in. He's supposed to do strategic review. And guess what? I forgot to tell you, look, but the Telegraph article, did you see the James Ducker article? When Jim is saying, oh, Manchester United didn't have any data scouting. They did have data scouting. They did. Manchester United did because what's it called? Richard Arnold and the other guy, Murta bought the guys in, right? Murta bought the guys in, but they've all been sacked now. So I'm
just to be clear,
what was done there. I'm sorry,
to be clear, I'm not trying to persuade you.
The mistakes that INEOS have made. I don't think it's got to you and saw the mistakes and the errors, the clear errors that have put this club even backwards, how they contribute to that. I don't think you see that. And I don't know where you're getting to light, but I'm going to mute and I'm going to listen to you and I need you to explain to me where the light is, where do you see this light and where we're going to get better.
Right. So your passion, is admirable, but people often mistake it for being correct. I'm not trying to persuade you of anything in particular, right? All I'm trying to do is express my perspective on the situation. I don't think it's possible to persuade you of this particular issue. As far as I see what INEOS is doing, all I'm simply saying is that if you believe that there's a 12-year rot that exists, how do you think that rot could have been fixed in any meaningful way within a year. That's number one. Number two, I think if you look at it beyond the propaganda, a lot of the critiques that we've made of the Glazers, right? They overspend on players, they're inefficient with money, they waste time in negotiations, they pay too much in terms of salaries. A lot of those critiques, right? The club isn't structured in a modern way with director of football, all that kind of stuff. A lot of those critiques are being addressed systematically by INEOS. We now have the footballing structure hierarchy. Most of the signings that we've made recently have been in keeping with the theme of not overpaying for players. We're not taking any more shit from our players that we have right now, the overpay players that we have right now. So if you mess up, you're shipped out on loan, and we're kicking you out. The players that we're looking to sign, they're all of a certain generational age. So a lot of the critiques that we had of the Glazers, INEOS is going in a different direction. So for those two reasons, right, from my perspective, number one, again, being I think it will take longer than a year to fix problems at United. And number two, most of the critiques that we had of the Glazers, INEOS is moving in a different direction. Now, you can say they're not moving fast enough. They're not communicating effectively about the changes that they're making. You can say, they should be more aggressive in their reforms. All of those critiques are valid. But I don't think it's fair or even makes sense to say that it's a doubling down of the Glazers policy. Like that just doesn't wash with me. But again, I'm not trying to persuade, Nura or anybody who agrees with him on this position because I think it has morphed from any type of like earth-based situation to like a shibboleth. The thing about the Glazers, right? It is what it is. They exist in infamy as villains that are kind of like untethered from the reality of the situation. So there's no persuading people who feel as strongly as Nuruddin and some of the fans here feel. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it's obvious to me that INEOS is moving in a different direction. You may not like it because what football fans want right now is sugar daddy, from the ownership of the club. You may not like it, but I think they are moving the club in the right direction. They are making a lot of positive changes, different from what the Glazers did. I expect and I'm willing to price in the mistakes that they've made as well, because, like I said, it should be expected that if you take over something as badly damaged as Manchester United, as the rot that we're all saying that's there, I expect that there will be growing pains. You will make some mistakes. There will be some errors along the way, but I think it's too early, as far as I'm concerned. It's too early to make declarative statements about the future of the club. If you're comparing us to City, to Chelsea, to Liverpool, to the bigger clubs in the world, and our ability to compete, it's everything that INEOS is doing. I think on paper, is setting us up to compete in the modern era. All that is missing. The two critical ingredients that we must watch for right now is number one, how do they back Amorim in the summer, and number two, is our manager actually the right one, the way we think that we think he is. If they back him in the summer, they can keep cutting and slashing as they see fit. They can raise money in any way that they see fit. But if they're able to provide success on the football pitch, I think all the complaints about the way the club is run would quickly fade into the background.
No problem. That's a view to have, and I respect your opinion. I don't agree with it, and I actually do not. I never want people to agree with me. But look, I'm going to show you. This was written. This was written, right? This article. I really like James Ducker because I think he gets some news from the football club, but he's also, when he's fair, he can be fair. He can be critical of what's going on. But this is what he said: Manchester United's data revolution threatened by INEOS turmoil. Special report: significant investment in data analysis has already taken place, but risk being compromised by the upheaval from the top. Right? Obviously, it's behind the wall and you can't read it. But the other day, I read most of it. Right? I read most of it before they said I have to enter this 7-day bullshit to it. Right? I'm not going to lie to you people. Right? The point I want to make is that, of course, when you take over a new thing, you're going to upset the apple cart. Because to me, it's about the approach. Fundamentally, I disagree with INEOS's approach. This is not a factory. This is not a chemical fucking plant. This is a football club with a heart and fucking soul. You cannot tell people who are working at Carrington or at Old Trafford, you guys go out for lunch and then everybody else, executives, are going to be eating the fish and everything, but you can only have sandwiches. I'm sorry. That is not what Manchester United as a football club has ever been. Because at the heart of it, football, the billionaire class might have been taking over it now, but at the heart of it, football clubs are a community. For me, bringing David Brailsford, doing this strategic review, missed huge things that they could have done, right? Huge errors they made with Ashworth, sacking Ashworth, the Ten Hag not sacking him when they needed to sack him to bring in it. By the way, if they would have sacked Ten Hag after the FA Cup final, nobody would, because everybody knows when somebody comes in charge of the football structure, they get their own guy. It's only in the history of football or history of sport, it's only been to a certain extent they've stayed with the guy that they found that was there before them, and they've been successful. It's not something percent. Everybody wants their guys in, right? For me, the faith that you have in them, I just don't see it. And I see the errors, and the errors they keep making. This is a week old. This article is a week old, right? Jim came in and said, oh, you know what? In one of the interviews he gave to the Times, he said, oh, the data is like from another century. It's so backward. No, there were data people there. There were data people there because we remember. And this guy who's actually close, he's the correspondent. James Ducker for the Telegraph is the correspondent for the north of England. He goes to every United game, this guy. And he's saying to you, people are telling him the upheaval at the top, from the top. So other than actually helping, they're hindering what's going on. But Jarvis, I would like you to come in because maybe I'm wrong, and I will put my hands up and say I'm totally wrong. I'm 100% wrong, and I would apologize to INEOS. I would. I swear to God I would, because that means that Manchester United are doing well.
Yeah, it's interesting that we are trying this data revolution, but it's 5 years too late. You know, most teams already gone through this and make transfers like this. So in a way, if this is true, if James Ducker is truthful when he says this, I don't know. I would be shocked if United weren't into data analytics. So it's a no news for me. But I think our transfers have been better the last couple of seasons. I think we have signed better players for a better price than we done recent years. So recent years. I think we are on the right way, but I think we still struggle because every team, every agent knows that when Man United comes, it's a special price. Special price for you, my friend. That's what I'm saying. And smile with showing all the teeth. So we know we overpay for players, and that's just the way it is. But when it comes to these gems, I'm actually doing a show tomorrow. I'm doing a recording, so it will be aired tomorrow. It's about gems and players that we actually could sign, and I found a couple of them. So there are people out there who are actually performing, and it's not your Osimhens and Jokeneses and Ekitye or all those names mentioned in the news, because all of that is just, a lot of it is agent talk.
It's clickbait.
It's clickbait, agent talk, trying to get their players out there. You know, even Fabrizio Romano, you know, he's paid a ransom and then more from all these agents and clubs just to leak out information about players. You suddenly see some players get some extra attention, and Fabrizio Romano gives them like 5 to 10, 15 tweets maybe, like unknown players you never heard about from small clubs. And it's about building up the narrative, the next big thing. So we know how it is.
Yeah,
and then their agents or clubs can charge more. So apparently there's some envelopes, brown envelopes going
100%.
around.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's how he works, Jarvis. That's how he works. agents will pay. We'll pay somebody a Romano to get the name out there, link them with somebody, and then that's how it works. And then the interest from other clubs, and why Manchester United get linked with everybody is because we drive the news, the football news, and then all of the clubs are like, ooh, wow, well, let's have a look at this player. That's why we actually, the amount of players we link to every summer, we sign less than 5% of those players. Somebody did some crazy stat on it. Jamie Wayne, I want to stay with you. And Jamie Wayne, actually, really fascinating that we think the same. I want to stay with you, Jarvis. Yep. I personally believe this is a make or break summer for Manchester United. I genuinely believe that. I really believe you need to get used to being outside of the top 10. If the correct signings are made, it's specifically because you've got an Amorim guy, or if Amorim doesn't negate on his system and actually becomes more flexible in terms of the systems that he wants to play and the philosophy that he has, then I can see make or break, because if he goes wrong, I think Manchester United are not going to recover from this. I genuinely think unless somebody puts a lot of money into the football club, where then you can make mistakes. Remember at Man City, Jarvis, they bought in the 2 sporting directors for Pep. They then still made huge mistakes. You remember how many times, how many centre-backs that he bought, how many midfielders, how many full-backs he bought, and he had to get rid of them. Get rid of them. They covered up the mistakes because he started to win. And when you start win, people don't see the dirty. Things, the things can be covered up when you're winning titles, right? Yeah. But without titles, or without United being in a Champions League place, unless they sustain a Champions League place, and I don't see that. I don't see us going from 13, 14 to 4th. I genuinely don't. Unless there's a quality, the jump in quality has to be so much. Because other teams are going to, do you think Newcastle are going to sit still? Do you think Aston Villa are not going to spend money? Do you think Chelsea are not going to go and spend money? Do you think Brighton are not going to find some? Do you think Bournemouth do you think these clubs in the middle of the table are not going to try to improve? Do you think they're all going to sit still? Do you think Liverpool have money now? Liverpool can spend at least 200 million in the summer transfer window if they lose Arnold, if they lose Van Dijk, if they lose Salah. So this idea that everybody's going to send. So do you believe what I'm saying to you? Do you get what I mean by, do you agree or disagree? When I ask you the question, do you think it's make or break?
I agree it's a make or break summer. But the thing is, we can sign as many players and get all our signings through, and everything will align, and we get like 8, 9 players that we all want, and things looks great. But we got to remember how this club is run. When the end of the season, when we play our last game, we will go to Southeast Asia. We will play in Hong Kong, and the players will have a couple of weeks off. And then there will be a tour in the US, and it's all about getting the brand out there.
So they're sending them. So they're sending
all these players, we know that they won't come in, even if we get.
Java, just hold it there. So we're going to the Southeast Asia, and then they have to fly from there to go to the US.
No, then they take a holiday, and then they go back on a preseason tour. So we're doing an end of season tour first. I think it was Shanghai or Hong Kong or something like that. We're playing 2 games. And
then they take a holiday.
Then they take a holiday. Yes.
And then we resume in the US.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And the thing is,
and by the way, you're 8 million they're making from South Asia. 8 million.
Yeah, 8 million.
So the players are going there after a long grueling season to go and play in this tournament in Asia for £8 million. Then they go on holiday. Then they go on tour in the US, where we fly from things to. You do not understand that the enthusiasm and all of that is not going to be the same, because United have been horrendous. Unless we win the Europa League, I can imagine they can sell it then. If the Europa League, then when the Champions League, maybe fans will be excited or whatever. But carry on, sorry, Jarvis. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, it's just okay. It's okay. But what I'm trying to say is, people gotta lower their expectations for next season. Even though, let's say if we get our 8 targets and all of them come in through the summer, most of them will come in late anyway, because there won't be any signings done before after the World World Cup Club World Cup, and that's mid July. So he probably won't have his players in this flying circus US tour, and then we have a couple of weeks until Premier League start, and then he will have just a couple of weeks to learn all these new players to come into this team and learn the style of play. So what do you think, Nordin? Do you or Sean and Lesso? Do you think
Let's go
that
to
Man
Lesso.
United will go out flying in the beginning of the seasons with all these new players coming in with no training basically and a lot of traveling in their legs? We all know how this is going to end.
Go ahead,
And
Lesso.
now it's second season. Amorim won't have a free pass anymore. People will start to expect results, and yeah.
Go ahead, Lesso.
No, no, you can see where this is going. I think he'll be sacked next season. It's unfortunate, but
Come on.
It's unfortunate.
unfortunate.
It's very
It's
unfortunate.
unfortunate. I don't want him to go. Honestly, I've said this. I said that I'm going to, if they never backed him in January, I told you where the blame lies. I'm not gonna go for the manager. I'm not going to be now, saying that it's all the manager's fault and all these other things. Of course, he has made mistakes, but partly because of those mistakes, they come from the fact that he was not backed and he had to, he had to basically try and deal with whatever issues that he had. We let go of forwards. We had a thin squad, so this was always going to end badly, man. It's too many bad decisions on top of too many bad decisions, and they always lead to a disaster. So in this case, man, I mean, going into next season, it's not. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is why I never wanted INEOS, because I know more or less how they work. In terms of the direction that they wanna go, and it was just not suited for a club of Manchester United stature, and they just didn't have the money to be able to mitigate around all of these situations that face us currently. We needed someone with a lot of cash flow, to be honest. And we knew this from before they even came in through the door, that we needed someone who's going to come in and clear the debt. That's your first thing. There was no plan from Sir Jim to even, he never stated any of that even before he bought into the 28%. So, he was fishing around any club that he could buy at this point. He didn't know what was happening at Manchester United. I don't know if people didn't realize that, but he didn't know the problems. He couldn't state what the problems were. He had to come in, and that's when he learned what the problems were, and he underestimated the whole situation. I think he knew now. He really knows now that he's way over his head. Personally, I never wanted these guys here, because honestly, this Manchester United was never even their first choice. That was not their first club that they were looking at. So, looking at the situation to next season, we all know how it's gonna go. Already, people are impatient with the manager; they want him out already. He may not adapt his new. He may not change his, his way of playing. And that will actually irk a lot of supporters, and it will lead to bad results. I think he should tweak it. Pep had to tweak, Klopp had to tweak. They all had to do it to adjust to the league. And if you see something's not working, you have to change it. And especially at these big clubs, you just do not have the time. It's not just that.
But then Glazers are winning again, or INEOS are winning again if he starts tweaking it, because I think the players will win when the manager has to really adapt, and I think this is one of the biggest problems. And if INEOS was semi-serious and wanted us to be a good club again, winning ways, they would understand the situation, how difficult it is, and they would just cancel the US tour and give Amorim all 5 weeks just to train. And train, system, formation, get the players fit, ready, start going, build some confidence in the beginning of the season, win the first 5 games, and then build on that momentum for the rest of the season. But no, we're not. We are going to. I don't know. We don't even need to go to the US tour. We have enough followers through the world, people buying merchandise and everything, especially if we start winning again.
Guys, come on. I have a serious problem with
Okay.
this idea that says Amorim cannot fail, he can only be failed. I have a problem with that mindset, and that's what I'm hearing from people trying to present it as if Amorim himself can do no wrong, he can only be wronged by the people around him. That's a problem. I totally agree that next season is at risk, and from my perspective, what that means is that Amorim needs to find a way to finish this season strong. We have to finish this end of the season strong for him to buy the time that he needs next season. Because without a doubt, at least 70% of the players that we have in this squad right now are still going to be here next season. They're still going to be here next season. So whoever Amorim is teaching or trying to get to learn his system, it's not somebody new that's going to come in the summer. It's the people already here right now. Majority of them need to become familiar with Amorim's style of play. Um, I'm also not comfortable with this framework that is trying to pick winners and losers in what is a united project. So the idea that, okay, if Amorim changes, that means the players win, or if Amorim changes, that means the Glazers, win. I'm not comfortable with that either, because we're all, whether we like it or not, we're all in the same boat. And if Amorim's changing, is going to get us, the result. And to be fair, he has changed. I mean, he came in here saying that his style of play was that he plays attacking players in wing back positions. He wanted Garnacho on the left wing back and Ahmad on the right wing back. Very quickly, he changed, right? And started playing two defenders in those positions. So we've seen at least one change. Eventually, he changed again by making the wing backs invert and the number 10s go wide. So it makes sense to me that along the lines, Amorim will continue to evolve and adapt and improve his system because he's in the big leagues, Premier League. But I don't think it's fair to Amorim and to us as fans to make him blameless, to effectively set him up to be in a position where, as I said before, he can only be failed. He himself cannot fail. If you're telling me right now that you already expect Amorim to be sacked next season, what are we doing? What are we doing here as a football club, as football fans, as Manchester United supporters? Why are we even having this conversation, right now on this channel? Amorim came into this club, I think, believing that his charisma, his knowledge of football, his relationship management skills, believing that all of those would translate into success on the pitch. He has found it more difficult to achieve success on the pitch than he initially thought, than we all initially thought. That doesn't mean that the only path forward is for a huge fat check to be written in the summer, and if he doesn't get $200 million worth of transfers in the summer, then he has to fail. No, I'm expecting from Amorim next season. I'm expecting us not to lose at home to Southampton, or not to lose at home to bottom of the table clubs. I'm not expecting us to win the league next season, but I'm expecting to see an improvement. That's all. I'm looking for a marginal, get us in the top 10, show me some improvements. Don't let us be as pathetic as we were this season in the games. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm okay going into next season with 70% of the players that we have right now and only a few signings in the summer, because there's no that we're going to get everybody on our wish list. And Amorim himself has to earn his pay. So it's a balance, I think, between the two. Amorim is not infallible. He's not blameless here. You understand? He's not on an island somewhere, and as in a way that he can do no wrong. No, he needs to also, contribute to the success on the pitch. Now, again, in case somebody is misunderstanding me, that doesn't mean that INEOS will have a role to play in backing him in the summer. And I would venture and agree with Nuruddin that this is a critical summer, probably the most important summer transfer window in the club's history, because the rocks that we find ourselves in right now, I think it can quickly calcify. We could quickly find ourselves to be Aston Villa, where I'm telling my children that back in the day, 20 years ago, we used to be something. And I don't want to be in that position. So, and I think the path to fixing that starts this summer. So I agree. high stakes summer, very, 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 very crucial. But I think where I would agree with Jarvis is that like all the signings that we've done so far have suggested that we are moving in the right direction. We're signing younger players for more value. Hopefully that continues. But there has to be a balance. There has to be a mix. Stop making all these rigmarole changes. I don't want to see Kobe Mino playing as number 9 anymore. Don't start Zexi as number 10 for 4 weeks and on the 5th week change him to a number 9 again. All these kind of changes, like I don't want to see any of that anymore. I want confidence from you, Amorim. I want confidence from my players. I'm not looking to you to come first next year. In fact, top 4 next year itself. Maybe we don't even need it as a target. I'm looking for confidence. I'm looking for swag. I'm looking for us to not look pathetic home and away versus Southampton. So for us to not look so terrible against Ipswich. I'm looking for us to slowly but surely progress as a club. And because of that expectation, I don't think I'm going to accept Amorim basically throwing up his hands and saying, well, because I didn't get everything I wanted, therefore I have nothing to offer you as a football club. No, he needs to earn the time, and he said it himself when he came. He needs time, but you have to earn that time, and the way you earn the time is by winning games. And so for the rest of this season, as a United fan, I want to see that, okay, eventually some core, whether that's 70%, 60%, 50%, I want to see that some core of the players in the club right now today understand what you're doing, Amorim. I want to see that some people, some core group of people are able to, carry out your style of play. And if it means that we just need to sign a few more players, let me be able to see that. So that you told me I need a whole new 11 from me. So yeah, I have high expectations from Amorim because I think it's the big leagues. It's a big club, the biggest club in the world. And if you're the manager of that kind of club, you have to earn your pay. There's no oh well, I didn't get everything on my wish list, or so I wasn't able to. I had no choice but to come 16. Please.
The only thing I would just to add on what Jarvis has said, I think I genuinely do think I agree with some of the things you said. Amorim has to stay on the test of time, but I'm putting everything into context. Young manager, new league, the toughest job in world football, one of the toughest jobs in world football. The club should be doing everything. INEOS should, because he's their guy. He's not the guy they adopted. He's their guy. They should be doing everything to mitigate anything that can derail him. Do you understand? And I think that's what the point that Jarvis was trying to make. Mitigate anything that could derail him as a coach, because he's your guy. And mark my words, you've heard it here first. Now that we're going to the US, because I didn't know we were going to the US. I thought we were going to, we were going to Southeast Asia. But now I know that was just a tour to get that 8 million.
End of season tour.
Yeah. And now we're going to the US. We're going to do exactly the same. Players are going to they're not used to flying from one coast to the other coast. And you know that country's like a continent. And then the season, they're going to start drained like they did last season, because remember what Ten Hag kept saying, we're not ready because of the traveling and the injuries that happened. Remember how many injuries occurred during the preseason? Because we're flying and we're not keeping up with, and the intensity in the training that Ten Hag was doing. That's where you're supposed to do the intensity, but you're supposed to have a stability and a base where you can have those treatments and you can leave players out and players can be involved. When you're flying around, it's very difficult to have that stability and to have the rhythm of literally getting them to show the game plan for the rest of the season. You do the work in preseason in football so that you don't have to. You do all of the work drilling, you do the drills so that you don't have to. Because the players are now more naturally fit, Jarvis. You don't do a lot of fitness work. You're doing, because players keep fit now. They even on the off time, they keep fit. They all get their schedules. They all get their homework. You see them all jogging. We see all the videos. They're all jogging. They're keeping fit. They're watching what they eat. It's not like what it used to be before. But now it's about drilling the systems. It's about having the stability to drill the systems. And I don't actually see that happening. And I see that is a way to derail him. because I thought they were only going to Asia and they were coming back here. But now they're going to it. And by the way, in terms of the transfers, another thing that's going to affect is the World Club thing that's happening in the US.
Yes.
The majority of players that we're going to be vying to go, a lot of those teams are involved in the top of the tables in the European teams, Jarvis. So the window is going to be a lot more slower because certain players are going to be waiting for the big clubs to sign them, and they're not going to be easy to go. And how does that has a knock-on effect on us? We're going to be waiting for the base and bargains towards the end. Those clubs, we're going to get the stuff.
Nordin, let me explain. The prize money for that tournament is
£1 billion.
200 for the winner. I think it's 200 or 250 million pounds, dollars. Is it dollars? Yeah, I don't know. But if I had a prospect that I was going to sell, let's say if I was the owner of a club, I was owner of Sporting, and I was sitting on Jokenes. Would I sell Jokenes to Man United before the World Club Cup, or would I wait until after? Because the winners and the teams that go far in that tournament will get a lot of money, and that's almost like free cash because they already made their Premier League money and their Champions League money and all of this, and now they have extra cash to spend in this. So I would have waited anyway. If United came in, here I give you 60 million, I would say, yeah, okay. Just wait until after the Club World Cup. We will see. So it will be difficult. We won't get to buy anyone, at least the big targets. We can get youngsters and unknown players, but when it comes to the big targets, nothing will happen until after the Club World Cup because it's just the way it is. It's business at the end of the day. But yeah, I think you make a lot of good arguments, Nordin, and as I said, if we were serious, we should have probably dropped this US tour for a long time ago. But this is Man United. It's not. We are not serious. It's all about.
Jarvis, my issue is that I think you're presenting a false choice now. When you say if we're serious, we should have dropped this. We should have dropped the US tour.
Sean, what don't you understand? How I laid it down. What you want with a new coach that you've got in, what you need to do is mitigate the turbulence. You need to mitigate the turbulence, the destruction that you're causing him. That's what you need to do. You see the
just
other
to clarify.
teams, look at the teams who start the start of the league. Majority of the teams, they don't go to they go to like Austria. They go to Norway. They fly out. They don't go take their football teams different places. And that is even Fergie. Fergie would struggle with that. And you see with Gary Neville when he talks, and he talks about all the club, all these kind of like doing all these commercial deals and all of that. The players, Gary never talks about it. We were not into that. That was disturbing us because we were more focused about winning. And all of that was
I think
extra.
Spurs played one game in Australia and one in Singapore or something, and then they went back. And they had 3 weeks or something like that in England. And Wolves, remember when we played Wolves in the beginning of the season when Cunha and Nunes just ran through our midfield? They had spent 3 weeks in Portugal in the preseason training.
So again, just to reiterate what I was hopefully finally say what I was trying to say before. Me disagreeing with you guys, it's not because I don't understand. I understand. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I just disagree. I fully understand. I understand the idea that football is a sport, that is a different spirit at work here, that the considerations should be different and all of that. I totally understand. I just think it's wrong. I think the reality of the situation, is that Manchester United is a publicly traded billion-dollar business. And anybody, whether it's Amorim, whether it's Ten Hag, anybody who is going to be successful at United has to be successful within certain constraints, which is why the manager ultimately has to be some kind of genius. And we've seen a few geniuses in football.
That's why you are failing. Even Fergie wasn't a genius.
Fergie was, to an extent, he was a bit of a genius, right? But Fergie left at the right time because football as a whole.
It took him 4 years to build a team. 4 years. And even in the last year, if he didn't win the FA Cup, fans were already calling for his head. They were calling for his head.
Well, I mean,
Fans in the
thank you
stadium,
for
remember?
thank you for agreeing with me that it takes about 4 to 7 years to build a team, right? So, like, I mean, yeah, I'm there with you that a manager needs
No,
time.
no, we understand that. The
Okay.
difference that we have is that the manager has to show from the first year has to show something to the fans to get behind. That's the
I
difference
don't know
that
what
me
that
and you have.
means. Yeah, I don't know what that means when you say you have to show something.
Like
I
what
mean,
club did what club did at Liverpool? What club did at Liverpool? Liverpool didn't have hundreds of millions.
yeah,
He showed
I
them
don't
something to get behind. He showed the
I don't think
fans
Klopp
something,
I
a
don't think Klopp
blueprint
is a good
for them to get
example.
behind. It is a good
I don't
example.
think
It's
Klopp
a
is a
good
good
example.
example because
It's
as
a good
Lesso
example.
said,
And you know how
calm
many
down.
players he cleared out? No, Sean,
No,
because you don't
Eugene.
understand. He cleared out so many people.
Oh
And
my God.
the thing that helped Jurgen Klopp was the football structure. They had stable football structure that knew exactly what he was going for. And they bought the players at that time. That's what they got
Yes,
lucky with.
yes,
That's what
of
they got
course.
lucky with.
Everything at Liverpool aligns to support your arguments, right? What I'm saying is that, as far as I'm concerned, Klopp and Pep are exceptions to the rule. They are
No, no,
unicorns.
no,
They
no,
are
no, 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 no,
geniuses.
no, 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 no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sean.
Yes, you
Please,
disagree.
Sean, no,
Breaking
Sean,
news.
do not,
Um,
Sean, I beg you, please, do not compare Pep with Klopp. Totally two different atmospheres. You've got a billionaire estate bankrolling one football club, and then you've got another football club where the guy had to work his socks off and actually improve players and had the time and energy to do that, and the club backed him to the hill for him to do that. They didn't do
do
anything
you
stupid
understand
to him.
the concept of disagreement? We disagree, like, right? There's no, I don't agree with your position, and if you let me express mine, right, then we can have a
So
conversation.
how can you compare? Do you not understand? You're comparing one club, Liverpool. Liverpool didn't have the
I'm not
same amount of money as.
comparing the clubs. I'm not comparing the clubs. I'm comparing managers. I don't think it was a foregone conclusion that Man City were going to be as successful as they have been in the last few years. I think it has a lot to do with the manager, Pep.
No, they were.
Um,
They were winning leagues before Pep came. But even with Pep, they still bought in his two boys, his two best friends from Barcelona, and they were buying players for him before he got here. And they already had a stable spine, Sean. Come on.
right.
What are you
So
talking about?
Three guys from Barcelona they signed.
Yeah, already put in the foundations. And they were winning league titles with Mancini. And what was the other guy called? Pellegrini. And Pep still struggled with all that money and everything behind him.
I'm saying, in my opinion, Pep and Klopp are geniuses of the last 10 years of Premier League football. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's fair to compare the managers that are around right now to those guys because those guys are exceptions. I think you can say whatever you want about the behind the scenes management at City or at Liverpool, but I don't think it was a foregone conclusion that any manager there would have been successful. So if you take Pep and replace him with Ten Hag, or take Pep and replace him with Solskjaer, or take Pep and replace him with anybody else, I don't think it's a conclusion that, foregone conclusion that they would have all been successful at City. So I think the genius of those managers had something to do with it, and I don't think it's fair to compare. I think it's like Messi and Ronaldo. Like, they've made the benchmarks ridiculous and difficult for everybody else to meet up to. The closest anybody else has come to Pep is Klopp in the last 10 years. So I don't think it's fair or reasonable to compare anybody with them, and that's not even the argument that we're having right now. All I'm simply saying is that the horizon for next year starts right now, and whoever the manager is that's going to be successful at United has to work within the constraints of United. So United is not Chelsea. United is not Tottenham. United is not Barcelona. We are Manchester United. And when Amorim first came, he sounded like somebody who fully understood everything that he was getting into. Everything that he said about the club's commercial commitments, everything that he said about the storm coming and all that kind of stuff. He very clearly, very articulately expressing himself and seeming like somebody who knew exactly what he was talking about. So when we arrive at a situation where the football itself is not turning out the way we wanted, that doesn't mean that we have to now go and restate everything that happened. No, there's no need to revise the history. All that is happening right now, quite simply that is happening right now, is that Amorim found time at United or life at United more difficult than he thought. Simple. End of story. right? Like he knew exactly what he was coming into, and I respected him for that
Sean,
clear-eyed approach.
Sean, how come I predicted it? How come Jarvis predicted it? How come Lesso predicted it? How come we all predicted it? Because we know this football club more than Amorim knew about Manchester. We are fans. We are consume everything Manchester United. That's what I was saying. We know more than Amorim. We knew it was going to be a struggle. Do you think it was going to be easy to come in halfway through the season, coming to players that nowhere near can adapt, to players who cannot even adapt? They weren't even adapting to the way Ten Hag wanted to play. And now they're going to adapt to a totally different system. Do you think it was going to be a cake in the walk? How come we knew that?
Is that what you're hearing me say? I mean, come on. Is that what you're hearing me say? That it was supposed to be a kick in the walk?
No, you said now that he struggled. No, we knew he was going to struggle. That's why we were screaming to say,
I said,
him in January. Back him in January.
I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned that's just simply you're unable to recite what I said back to me, right? I said quite clearly that all that is happening is that Amorim is finding life at United harder than he thought it would be. That presupposes that he thought it would be hard in the first place, right? So I'm saying we expected it to be a tough time. Tough time to me when Amorim first came. Tough time to me meant 10th, 12th. Eighth, between 8th and 12th basically was what a tough time seemed to me. Not close to relegation. And if you in your foresight predicted a relegation battle, I have to give you kudos basically. Much respect. I doff my hat to your powers of prediction.
No,
but from my perspective,
I predicted that if they didn't back him in January, I kept repeating. Lesso remembers, Jarvis remembers, you remember. I kept saying January. They have to back him in January for him to try to rescue bit of the season. I kept saying that, and in January they said nah. Officially Jarvis, Sean, and Lesso, they said Heavens, Aiden Heavens was a senior footballer that they signed. They signed him 2 players in the window. He's fucking 18 years old. Are you taking the fucking piss? That's what they said.
He was officially signed to he was assigned to the first team squad at least. So that's why he's playing. He's eligible to play the Europa League. But yeah.
But listen, at the end of the day, last word from you, Jarvis. Sean, I think we understand you. We just fundamentally see it differently.
We disagree,
we totally disagree. And big up to Kadim, we just see it differently. But I have to try to bring about all the evidence that I personally believe is there, the facts that are there. When you hire a guy, you try to mitigate. He's their guy. You think people are going to go in on INEOS. When INEOS sack him, and I'm going to predict this right now, Jason Wilcox or Omar Barada's time will be the day that they sack, the clock will be ticking around Barada or Wilcox because he was their guy. He was their guy. So the clock will be ticking around those two as well. Go ahead, Jarvis. Last word from you. Let them know when the video is going to be premiere tomorrow. What time can people go and check out the video?
I haven't decided yet, so I will just check what's best. I will do a recording, quick recording. It will only be like a 15-minute show, so it will be quick for you to just catch up. Because I have especially one striker, a French striker that probably no one of you have heard about before, so it will be interesting. So and tomorrow night, me and Stu, we have Keith Hackett coming on at 9 p.m. So that will be good.
That'll be good.
Yeah. So now it's interesting debate, guys, and I think we all agree that this is a difficult state we are in, and I don't think any of us really believed that we were going to fight for a top 4 place anyway, when we sacked Ten Hag. And when it comes to January, I said right away, we are not signing anyone. I was surprised that we signed Dorgu because I thought we were out of money because we sacked Ten Hag and we hired Amorim. It costs money. That's just the way it is. I know.
Got rid of Dan Ashworth.
And then Ashford. But because I understood the state we were in now in the last summer transfer window, because we had the chance to sign Sander Berge, but we haggled, and they signed him for 25 million, and I think we offered 18 or something, and then he has become the best DM in the league now. you know, the potential was there, and they knew about
You
it.
called
I'm
that,
100%
Jarvis. You
sure
called it.
yeah.
It must be said
But
you called it.
this is how it works, you know. It's difficult, but we didn't have any money, so but it is what it is. We can't fix it. It's a good debate. It's good to have Sean here to have someone who's not agreeing with me all the time, and Noradine and Lesso. So big up, guys, and if you want, go to Tactical Devil, subscribe, because we have some good stuff coming up tomorrow with Keith Hackett and the
And
striker
actually, it's
video.
going to be very interesting to speak to him about what's happened tonight. You see what happened tonight? The VAR
No.
tonight. 6 minutes it took. Spurs scored a goal and they got disallowed, but they were looking at it for about 4 or 5 minutes.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm meaning to ask him about the rollover from FAS, you know, the Leicester game on Xerxes, because the referee didn't do anything. He didn't give him a yellow card. So I'm going to ask him about that, and maybe we will talk about the latest controversies that's been, you know, the Tarkovsky tackle yesterday against Liverpool, and yeah, it will be interesting. And we will also do a quick preview. I don't know, Nordin, if you're doing any previews.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do preview. I'm busy tomorrow, but I'm gonna do a preview on Saturday. Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Maybe Saturday morning, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Or Saturday, or Friday. Just it'll be a video. I'm gonna see. I'm trying to get one of my City fan friends to come on. I'm trying to get my cousin on, but he doesn't want to come on screen and all that. I'm just like, come on.
Get him on. Get him on.
City fans don't. Yeah, some City fans, they're camera shy. They don't even want to talk to me anymore. Because you know they've can only win the FA Cup this year. They're struggling to get into the top 4 now that Haaland is injured as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lesso. Last word from you. But people, please, video dropped about 3 players Manchester United could sign tomorrow. 3 or maybe 4 players Manchester United could sign. 15-minute. Make sure you check that out. And then 9 o'clock, Tactical Devils, Keith Hackett, former Premier League referee boss. He was a famous referee in the Premier League in England, and he rose to the ranks and became the boss of all the referees. So when he speaks, you listen, especially the parts of the game where they're officiating. Lesso, last word from you, bro.
Yeah, just listen to everyone's points, and yeah, man, it is what it is, man. This club will drive you nuts, you know, and I think we're way past the point of insanity at this point with Manchester United. But yeah, it's not looking good. Unfortunately, INEOS have never been successful anywhere. So, I don't know what people were actually, basing this on, thinking that they'll come here and be successful. I don't think they will be personally successful. For me, I think this is just a vanity project for them. And, they're going to struggle because they came here without a plan anyways. So, they're still going to make even more mistakes. And they don't even have the financial muscle to afford to make any more mistakes. Next time we won't have a staff. The way they're making mistakes at this point, we won't even have staffs working at Manchester United. Everyone will be sacked. But all in all, man, I'm just hoping that the money dries up for them and they sell to someone who actually has the money. The Glazers want out, clearly, because they want to put more money back into into the Buccaneers, as well as they want to move into a different sport as well. So they need the cash injection. They may look to sell soon because they're not here. They don't want to be here for the next 10 to 20 years.
They talked about a new stadium.
Yeah.
They talked about Super Bowls. They want to arrange Super Bowls.
Yeah,
that's what Joe Glazer said. New stadium. Yeah. They needed to have a look at the stadium.
Yeah, it's all good to say that in theory until when you no longer have the dividends, and you can no longer take the dividends as they used to. At this point they were used to getting dividends. Now they.
By the way, they still get, but by the way, they still get managing operational fees.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah, they still get that. But these guys are greedy. That's not enough for these guys. They're used to getting every cent from every different corner. So, if they get an opportunity where they can own a cricket club or something like that, they'll jump at that opportunity if they can see that they're gonna get money out of it or make money out of it. So I'm just hoping that the money runs dry for both of these guys, so that we can have someone who's serious and have the pockets to actually solve situations at this football club. If we had got the proper ownership in, it wouldn't have taken us 7 or 8 years to be trying to win trophies or win challenge Premier League titles. If Shazim came in, he's already comes in with the structure. He already clears the debt. So that's like half of our problem gone straight off the bat.
PSR won't touch
you know,
us. PSR
exactly.
will not have touched
So
us. If the debt's cleared.
already that's more than half of the problem gone. Already you haven't even touched anything yet. So that's why I'm saying it's those small factors that are against us at the moment, because this guy doesn't have the pockets. It's unfortunate that if he had the pockets, he would have bought the club outright. So it's not about them not wanting to sell the club. They did want to sell it, but they wanted to see how much they could get for it. So it is what it is at the end of the day, guys. Yeah, next season Amorim is gone. We're gonna be back in square one. I personally don't see a way back for us. If we mess this up in the summer.
Yeah. Big up to Windy. I'll quickly answer. I don't know why they've not done it. Ten Hag didn't do it as well last season. He didn't do it. They didn't have that warm weather thing. None of them do it. It said the players went on holiday. So I don't know why United don't do it, but other clubs are doing it. Sean, last word from you.
Yeah, if Amorim is doomed at all, it's because our fan base is completely untethered from reality. That's what it's gonna do. That's what's gonna do Amorim, and it's really unfortunate, right? Really sad to see. Because the idea, I don't know how many billionaires but the idea that somebody would buy a club for 4 billion, 5 billion cash, and on top of that, pay 1 point something billion dollars just to pay down a loan, just to make United fans happy. The idea that that is even remotely possible is crazy making, right? Like that's not anywhere on planet Earth. It was never going to happen. It will never happen. There's nobody in the world that has $7 billion cash just to put down immediately. It's not going to happen. What is the present value of such an investment? And you expect that after making that, they will not look to make money out of the club in the future? I mean, and again, if the idea is that the Glazers are tired, how do you look around football right now and think anybody with a majority shareholding of a football club is looking to sell right now? It's also not going to happen. So I feel bad for Amorim. Like I really feel bad for him, but for different reasons, right? I think football is done as a sport because every single fan right now is a tactician, an analyst, a financial professional, and a businessman. I just want to win, right? And I think that the manager can do more to provide results on the pitch. So, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for my manager to win me football games. Everything else is noise.
Okay, and the flaw in your total argument, Sean, is that you think managers come and without the help of the board and the structure and the owners, without that everybody looking the same way, having the same objective, you think in your way of watching football, you think magical managers come and then everything just gets sorted. They're either good enough or they're rather bad. Nah, it don't work like that. At Manchester United, the reason why we've crumbled, the last 12 years of struggle, is because of the directly linked to the owners. It's directly linked to the owners. And what INEOS have come in, they're even same level of incompetence. The mistakes they've made in 1 year are shocking for a club that's been making mistakes 12 years before they were here. Now we're in our 13th year. That's what we are now, 13 years. And the mistakes are going to keep coming. And like I said, one thing both of us agree on, that this window will make or break. It will be a decade-defining window. Because if this window, they don't get it right, then where Manchester United are going to find themselves is going to be, and there's not going to be no money. There's no billion there that's going to get us out of that. It's not there. The difference between Man City and all the rest of the teams in the Premier League for Pep Guardiola to dominate was that they would hide his mistakes. All their football structures mistakes, they made plenty. If you go and look at how many players Pep Guardiola has signed, and then you look at how many players that club has signed when they first came in to when they left, you would see it. You would see what I'm talking about. You would see what I'm talking about. Football structure, the board and the coaching staff all look in the same direction with the same objectives. It's the only way the new game in town. If there is any disunity, disjointed between the three, then you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble. And in modern football, unfortunately, we can be romantics because we support one of the most romantic football clubs in world history. But 2 years is the average. 2 years is the average that any manager gets in European football. That is the average. 2 years. And the only guys who stay more than 2 years is that they've won and there's a clear plan and there is a connection between them, the football structure and the board and the owners.
Yeah.
And there are other models like Chelsea were under Ibrahimovic and the likes of Real Madrid are where they don't care. Everything else is taken care of. Coaches are bought in. They don't win. Ta-ra. Bring the next guy in. You know, there are two different styles of models. That's what it is.
But we don't fall under either of those, right? I think I totally agree with you. We're the most romantic club on earth. And that's the reason why, at least for me, I loved United. And I think probably the same for everybody on the panel and, you know, all the fans. We don't fall into either category. We never had a sugar daddy. We were never backed by the state of Catalan or the Real Madrid bank of whatever. We never had a blank check. What we had was magic. Pure, unadulterated magic. Let me from my perspective, from my own perspective, what made United beautiful for me as a United fan was the ability to go to the San Siro with Darren Fletcher and Gibson in midfield and not feel any type of way about your position because I believed as a United fan. Like for me, what made United like such a legendary club is the history of all these special, indescribable, completely magical moments. And Solskjaer has won it. You know, Rooney, all those moments. That's not something that you can plan for or that you can prepare for. That is pure and just dreams. That is the theater of dreams, the magic of football, and you know, from my perspective,
those
it's
things
all
didn't
magic.
happen. But to create that chemistry, Sean, in that time, remember when Fergie came in, you look at it, Jarvis was more present than I was. I was a kid, but Jarvis, you're not that old. I'm not saying you're old, but you were more, you understood what was going on. You look at the signings he made. He bought all the way from the Premier League. He bought Pallister, Bruce, Irwin. He then got Ince from West Ham. So now, to get those players in today's Premier League is totally different because guess what? The wages that those clubs, the wages that United were going to pay them and the name. So it was the name and the wages. The name of the wages. Majority of the Premier League teams can offer the same because they've got owners. Newcastle have got owners who want to put money in. Yeah. Villa owned by billionaires. Most people don't know that. Villa are going to go again, right? Going to double down on the success, especially when they had a taste of the Champions League. So what you don't understand, a majority of the Premier League teams were back in the day United to go to Spurs. Berbatov, there's a 30 million. Shut up. Those days are done. And it's not even the Fergie stability that he built. The romance was there because of the Fergie stability, Fergie genius, right? And then we could always, nobody can compete with us because we were winning. We had more money than anybody else. And that continued. But the chemistry is because when you buy players, you are a stable football club. You can scout properly. And then you can then grab that. No more. Fergie would struggle now. Are you kidding? Do you think Fergie could go to Aston Villa and go, give me your best player? Or could even go to Bournemouth and go, give me your best player for a cheaper rate? No. Premium. Like Jarvis said, everybody's smiling from cheek to cheek.
Yeah.
Manchester United. And that's what, and Fergie, mistake after mistake. Look at where he finished 13th, 11th. He finished 7th or 6th, and then we went and competed, started challenging for a league title because of the inconsistencies of the players who were coming in. And majority of them were coming in from the British Isles. And that's the thing. And he even struggled. It took him 4 years to clear out the drinking culture, the Pisshead FC, to clear all of that out, bring in his one then for them to get into the, and then luckily what kept him there was that he had a plan for the youth, taking it back to Busby. To coaches, he had the right coaches in the right age groups to spot the talents, to develop them and to bring them through. So that's the difference, Sean. That's the difference. I can go and do this lot. The magical moments happen because Fergie was fucking cooking. He was putting all of the different sauces, all of the different spices for that fucking jollof to come out the way it did. That's why it tastes. That's why it was amazing. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the classic example. He looked at him, studied him. You don't have that. Now, the whole world will know about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Back in the day, there isn't. Everybody's got now a White Scout. Do you know what a White Scout is? You can do it. You don't even have to be an expert like fucking Tony Bloom at Brighton. Everybody can pay for White Scout and you know exactly stats. You know injuries. You know positionally how he contributes. They know all of that. That's why Liverpool used it with Michael Edwards. And if without Michael Edwards, Klopp to me would not have been the same. 100 million%. What helped Klopp was the signings of Salah, Van Dijk, and Ederson. They were the 3 significant signings. Obviously, Mane and Salah.
You don't see their personalities when you look at stats.
Yeah.
Remember what Ferguson used to do? First, when he wanted to sign a player, he brought him into his office and showed him footage, video clips of their worst performances.
Yeah.
Defenders when they missed tackles, scoring own goals and stuff like that. He asked them, why did that happen? He wanted to see if they could take accountability for their own mistakes, if they could own their own mistakes and improve.
Yeah.
So
and
that's Fergie. He was like a mastermind.
And not even that, Jarvis. He then would know everybody, their aunties, their siblings, kids. He would know everything about them. He would see the family. He would go do proper background checks on them, on these players. And then, Jarvis, when they got here, like Vidic and Evera struggled. What did he do to Evera on a Manchester derby? He said, come here. You come and sit here. He got battered. He came into a league that was so physical in a derby game, took Evera off and said, now you listen to me. You watch from the bench. Vidic, look what people say, what the Rio and that say about Vidic and Evera when they first come in. He stopped by them. So then those players thought, shit, I've got to pay him back. I've got to pay because he got them into that kind of mindset. That's why he could get the best out of those players because he perfected a way.
The thing is, Noreen, it wasn't just Fergie. We had all the other coaches. Rene Meulenstein.
Yeah.
He had a talk with Ronaldo after his first good season.
I was trying to explain that. Jarvis,
I saw that. He said,
Jarvis, I was trying to explain that to
Saeed
the other day. Jarvis, on the watch along, I was trying to show that to Saeed and Vas and say, look, Manchester United had developmental coaches. They had weightlifting. You remember the guy, what's his name? Jim something, the guy that was the weightlifting guy who helped Ronaldo to bulk up. I said, it was my lifetime. I saw Ronaldo from being step over merchant to becoming the big star that he is. And I was like, it wasn't just talent. He worked so hard to improve. He worked day and night to improve. It wasn't just a talent. Messi is a gift. You can see that. But even he worked hard, but it's a gift. With Ronaldo, not everything was a gift. He worked so hard.
I will send you the Rene Meulenstein.
No, I've seen it. I was trying to explain it to them. But he
asked Ronaldo if he wanted to be the best in the world. And Ronaldo said, yes, I want to be that. So are you going to be the best in the world tomorrow? Or next week? Or next month? Or end of the season? Where do we start? How many goals did you score last season? 23. Okay. How many goals will you score next season? 30. No, 40 goals. You're going to score 40 goals. And then he took him into the office, showed him 3 minutes of goals of Van Nistelrooy, Solskjaer, all the
Cole.
big strikers. Andy Cole. Asked him, "What did you see?" I see a lot of goals.
Let me
No.
trigger the guys a
Watch
bit.
it again. Watch it again. And he watched
You know-
3 more minutes again, and then Ronaldo said, "Okay, they all scored from inside the box. They all scored with the left foot, right foot headers." And you know, Ronaldo, he learned. And Rene Mullenstein was part of this, pushing
Yeah,
it, not just Ferguson. So this is how you create a culture within the club. And this will take time, you know, to be the best. But they wanted to be the best.
Jarvis, I always scream about it. Developmental plan, developmental plan, developmental plan. If you don't have youngsters, if you don't have them developmental, and if you don't have the background, but according to Sean, you just need one manager, everything's going to be fine. He's just going to be a magical. And despite how dysfunctional the football is, the owners or the board or the structure is, it don't matter. It's about the magical manager. Go ahead, Sean.
No, I'm just gonna say, if I ever get into politics, I'll hire you to attack my opponents because you'll be sure to misrepresent their positions. You do a very good job on that. I'm only partly teasing. But yeah, that's not at all what I said. But I think we've been here for 2.5 hours or so. So big up everyone. Yeah.
If people want to see the
Mullenstein. Yeah, I saw it, Jarvis, and I was trying to explain it to Saeed.
I'm posting it in the chat for people who want to see it. You can check it out afterwards. When
Jarvis, can you send it to me so I can post it on Twitter and just show it to people? Yeah,
I can do that.
Yeah. But people, it was, and before that, it was read about what Scholesy and those guys have said about the coach. I forgot his name. The youth team coach. Was it Eric something? Was it Eric something? He was named as
Eric Steele.
Yeah, think about what they said about Scholes talks about the 1968 Champions League winner. What's his name? The left back, the one with the teeth, with no teeth. United left back, right back, with the hair.
Yeah, Joe Jordan.
No, 1960s, the 68 Champions League winner, 660s. Left-footed, right-footed, whatever it was, rough as they come with the tackles. With
I know. Nobby Styles.
Nobby Styles was their coach. Nobby Styles would go again, Scholes. Go again. You're not gonna make it unless you do this, you do that. But both Gary Neville and Scholes talk about Nobby Styles. The fundamentals of Nobby Styles drilled into them. At the end of the day, it is what it is for me. We're not that football club. We're not that football club anymore. We're not that football club. And to get back there, you have to have money and have wisdom. You have to have money, but you have to spend it wisely. Yeah. And at this moment in time, and I remember, Jarvis, look how many shows that I did since we set this channel up, saying that the Glazers were putting this club to ruin. Remember all of the time I was saying that every year by year, Manchester United profit margin was going down in terms of commercial input because when we were struggling on the football pitch, you could see the commercial money coming in, and it was going down and going down and going down. And only time here we warned about it, and Glazers had to sell. But there it is, Jim Glazer to the rescue. Investment makes the Glazers stay. Now that's what he needs to do. By the way, somebody's seen that Joe Glazer. Is there a Joe Glazer interview or Avram Glazer interview where they're talking about stadiums?
Joe Glazer, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to find it, but I've not seen it. But big up to everybody. Please make sure you check out Tactical Devils. Make sure you follow Jarvis at Bowley77, BOLE77 on Twitter. Make sure you check out Lesso. Lesso, did you have to say your last word? Did you have your last word? Yeah, you did. Yeah, big up Lesso Talk TV, Lesso Football TV, Black Rain on Twitter. Make sure you check out Sean at Sean Thomas, and then check out the Geopolitical Podcast, How We See Things. You can find it across podcast providers. Big up, love and light, people. Look after each other.
Big up,
At the
guys.
end
Big up,
of the day,
everyone.
it is what it is. But it was a nice debate to have because I think something is coming, and I'm genuinely thinking this is going to be one of the most transfer windows in the Premier League history of the. I don't know about the history of all time, but specifically the Premier League history. Yeah, Kioros was another guy that improved significantly. Brian, no, not Brian McClare. The guy that we had who's number 2 to Ten Hag. What was his name?
Queiroz, Rene Mullenstein, Terry
McLaren.
Yeah.
And 99, McLaren was one of the best coaches in European football. McLaren at that time, 1999, was one of the best coaches, and his things and his new ways of looking at things helped Manchester United to win the treble. Yeah. Queiroz not just spoke the language. Queiroz made Manchester United incredibly difficult to beat in Europe. We did that. Remember, we did that for 4-5-1. Remember that, Jarvis? We did that 4-5-1. We were getting bullied out, number in midfield, and we did not concede goals. We went on an incredible how many games in the Champions League being unbeaten because he made us solid. He got the players to understand when we lose the ball the importance of shape. And Fergie, look, McLaren, Mullenstein, McLaren, Mullenstein, Queiroz changed it. Brian Kidd changed it up. Had different teams coming in. Yeah. So it is what it is, people. Yeah. Big up and love. And free Palestine, free the Congo, free Sudan, free anybody, free Lebanon, free Syria, free Manchester United from the Glazers and Jim the Rat. Free everybody. We don't discriminate against anybody. Please, long as we respect each other, everybody's welcome here and everybody's willing to disagree. And if any of you guys know anybody who really backs the INEOS, please let me know so I can come and try to invite them on the channel, because I genuinely want that. I'm no one have no screaming matches, nothing. I'm sometimes get over passionate, spills over, but I really want to learn something new that they know. So anybody you guys think, right, to talk about INEOS, who's backing INEOS and backing the status quo, please let me know. We can invite them onto the channel. Big up. Yeah. Big up to everybody. Fuck Zionism. It's a death cult. Free Palestine. Free
100%.
Free the Glazers and INEOS from Manchester United. Free Manchester United from INEOS and the Glazers. That's what I meant. Sorry. I said it the other way around. I'm tired. But yeah, big up, Jarvis. Thank you so much for staying late. I know that you have to be up early. Less so, the same to you. Same love. Big up to everybody. I really enjoyed tonight's debate. But yeah, trouble is coming, people. And I feel bad for Amorim. But I promise you, unless he does something fundamentally like Ten Hag did, take the piss out of my intelligence and then the fans' intelligence, then I won't be him out, because I know he didn't bring himself here. He was brought here. But love and light, people. Take care. Make sure you check out the video tomorrow. Dropping in about potential players to sign. Jarvis has been scouting. Been on a scouting mission. 15-minute show. 9 o'clock tomorrow. Drop in. Live show podcast with Keith Hackett. Big up Blesso. Whatever he's doing as well. Love. Yeah? Take care, people. Good night.
Good night.
Please, guys, smash the like on the video. I'm not asking you for too much on your way out. And get in the comments. Please, if you disagree or you agree on tonight's debate. Take care.